Hello, everyone. How you doing? Welcome to Monday Night Tottenham Away, the best place to be in town if you're a Spurs fan. If you're not a Spurs fan, it's okay. You're welcome as well. To all the regular listeners, watchers, viewers, welcome back. To all the new people watching us, good to have you on board. I'm back from my break. I feel fresh, ready to go. Season's almost upon us. We've got a great show for you tonight. As always, let's go.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.
What's happening, people? We're back again. Hope you're ready to rock and roll. All things Tottenham. JP, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing all right, you know. It's been right.
Yeah.
It's been a nice week.
Happy birthday.
Thank you very much. Had a good time last Monday.
What did you do?
Celebrate over the weekend. I went out for a lovely meal. In
He
Wimbledon.
abandoned us for something called the wife or something. I don't know what it is. No.
Yeah.
I've got to do it once. Got to do it once a year.
treat her to your company. We've also got Adolfo Sanchez with a side of Dyer, otherwise known as Lee. How you doing, Lee?
Evening, gents. Good.
Nice.
Last week before pre-season starts for my boys, so raring to go next weekend. First pre-season friendly on Sunday. Back in the football ways.
Ooh, started already, eh?
Yeah, starting early this year.
Do you know what? We've got a fair bit to sort out at my club. We're going for a transformation. We're going with a rebuild project.
Rebuild.
I've heard that before.
Process. Late as always. Iggy, how you doing? Thanks for joining us. Appreciate your
Still
company.
eating, man.
Lateness is greatness.
So that's Levy's excuse. He said it another 3 years, he says.
No. That's 23 years is not being late. That's not late anymore. That's not. You can't compare
That's
4
Mr.
minutes
Boat. That's
late to
Mr. Boat,
23
isn't it?
years. But all jokes aside, how are you guys? Did you just say that you started the season already?
We're starting pre-season training on Saturday, and we got a first pre-season friendly on Sunday.
Wow.
Bang.
And that's
Wow,
and
really
to be
are
fair,
starting
I'm sure most of the parents would probably like it later, but most of their boys are sending them messages going, "Where are we going to football? Where are we going to football? Where are we going to training? We're going to." So we go, "Yeah, all right, we'll start next week." Come back.
Well, what else are they going to do,
Absolutely
though? What
raring
else
to
have
go
they got?
Yeah, it's harder. It's harder for those, for example, that are not going away on a summer holiday and stuff like that. It's a long summer for those
Yeah.
who don't leave who don't.
Yeah, that's coming soon, isn't it? Jeez.
Yeah, it is, man. It is. But yeah, talking of big games, having a press conference today.
We're going to get into it. There's
I
loads
know
to
we
get
will.
into.
I'm just saying hello to everybody. I'm late.
Talking about another late body, Mediterranean time. There he is, Maz. Thanks
Hey,
for joining us.
I
what's
think you
up,
started too
man?
early. You started too early. Our fate is starting.
Hey guys, what's up? Sorry, I'm
What's
late.
up now? Mal,
Listen to this.
don't apologise. Mal, don't
You
apologise.
arrived late. You arrived
Don't
late,
apologise.
and your excuse is you started too early. What, on time?
Yeah,
What?
everyone knows. Everyone knows what we like. Anyway,
maybe in
big up
Italy.
to everyone
Maybe
in the
in
chat.
Italy.
Shut up, so let me say hello to everyone in the chat.
And
Big
in
up everyone in the
Cyprus,
chat. The
maybe.
most important
Yeah.
people. The most
Yeah.
important
Cyprus
people in
time.
the chat.
Cyprus time,
Maybe
man.
time. Maybe time. See, you know at GMT, the M stands for maybe. Anyway,
GMTA don't start on time either. Sometimes it's on at 9, sometimes on at 9:30, 10:30, depending on how my working day is going. But the GMTA videos will come out. Unless I haven't got anything to talk about, then it just doesn't, like transfers right now. Nothing to talk about. On the transfer front,
Nothing
everything's-
happens. Nothing
yeah,
happens.
all I'm seeing,
What a surprise.
all I'm seeing
Kane.
for Fabrizio Romano is just, he spoke about something last week, and today's like, oh, that's still ongoing, by the way. I haven't, because he doesn't want to he wants to keep that going.
Maz has gone now. See, Maz has gone, right? I said, Maz, how you doing? And you took over. Now he's left the show.
Right,
No,
good.
I haven't. Give me a second.
Oh, yeah, give him a second to gather his thoughts, and then I'm sure he'll be back.
Okay.
Just doing his hair.
Yeah, he's just fixing his hair.
Let's
See,
let's
that's the
send
one
out to everyone in the
problem I don't like.
comments. Let's send out to everyone in the comments. All right, we've got Amit in the house. Still haven't replied to my comment. Extremely. Oh, here we go. I've been back 1 minute. 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. No, I didn't mock you. You said that you don't like the content that we put on our community page, and you're fed up with the stuff we put on there. Don't read it. That's what I said. You don't have to. It's up to you. I also said start your own channel. But anyway, feel free to go off on one from the beginning. Not even a hello. How come you guys don't stream with him? Oh, they're all out tonight. Ask Henry. Ariel, ask Henry. Sanchez for 9 million. I hope so. I mean, 2 minutes. There he is, Maz. Yeah. Maz, I'll come back to you.
Apparently, there's
Big
a
up,
bidding.
William. Well, we'll discuss it for sure because there's a few things we need to talk about, players in and out. But let's quickly say hello to everyone watching. Big up, Roberts. Hope you are doing well. Richio in the house. We've got TJ. Big up, TJ. Hope the channel's going well. Hasper in the house. Big up, Mr. Post Office. Big up, Mr. Post Office. Stixie. Dean, how you doing, mate? Good to see you or hear from you. Billy Andrews, even guys, meaning can always would be. I don't have a problem with the stadium hosting other events as long as the money's invested. Absolutely. Swifty in the house. How you doing? Some OnlyFans. Apocalypse Now. Big up. We've got David Clark from Leicester. How you doing? We've got Lenny. That's a new one. Maybe it's not. Lenny, good to have you there.
Lenny.
Chris, Cello, we've got Graham in the house, and Sammy, big up to you and the boys. We've got Joe, we've got Bertie, Hotspur, Paul, Andy, LA007, DJ Marcus Anthony, Billy, Robert, Chris Agombar, OG Chris Agombar from day one.
Hey.
Rob in the house, Jamie Git, Paul, Spurs Mad 68, David Clark again. How you doing? Seb's in the house. Big up Seb. We've got Robert, Dylan, Trending Spurs. That's quite a good name, that. Stuart 727, Dexter, Will Stewart. Who's that? Never heard of him. Daniel
in the house.
Bring it, big boy. Why is there a picture of me at the barbecue? Big boy. Why is my
You're cooking. Cooking, man.
cooking above? Unbelievable. David P. Big up. And Scott Hyden, how you doing, everyone? Good to have you all on board. Okay, Maz, now you can say hello.
Some old names, but also saw quite a bit of new names as well. So for those who are new, welcome to the house, man. Welcome to the family.
Yeah, big up, everyone.
And for the old OGs, big up.
Oh, Will's in the chat as well. Why isn't he on?
Will.
He's in the
US. It's like 5 hours behind. It's probably due during working time or he's still finishing.
No, you had to go away, right? You had to go away.
Yeah. So,
yeah, big up, everyone. Anyway, nice to see you all.
Maz, I'll tell you what, I'm going to come to you first on the first topic. The reason is because you never got to say a proper hello. But
yeah, sorry about that, Maz. My bad.
He's bad. So it's been a talking point, and I want to cover everything on it because there's a fair bit to just kind of juggle here. But it began with the Spurs Supporters Trust ex-head Cat putting out a poll saying that fans should stage a walkout based on the ticket prices going up. And it's pretty much a 50-50 split. There was tweets going around of parents saying how am I supposed to take my kids to the game now? The younger generation of Spurs fans will be priced out. There were people then throwing digs, 20% increase for failure, 20% increase for the highest paid chairman in the league. Sean Butler made a comment saying the Levy out. They blame not having trophies, but hate the way he raised money to compete. So I did make a video saying, Sean, bro, I'm happy to debate you on this subject. More than happy to have that conversation because I think what you've said is a fallacy. It's not a dig at Sean. I'm just challenging the comment he made. Alistair Gold came out yesterday with a long report where he pretty much not slammed the club, but he weren't happy. That's for sure. There's talks of the Liverpool walkout in February 2016 when something similar happened, but the Liverpool fans walked out, which links back to what Kat said. I think that's where she might have got the idea from. And also, I did a little analysis. I'm not going to go through it all with everyone. We can come back to it if you want. But what I roughly calculated, approximation, the ticket prices being increased will generate the club roughly an extra £2 million per year. That's what this is all worth. Maz, It's a lot to digest. What?
Where do you want me to start? On what point?
I bet you wish you'd turned up on time instead of low first, eh?
I should have given him some. I should have sent him some documents first for him to do some
Yeah.
homework. But yeah, no, what do you think, Maz? Where are you at?
What do I think? Right. So I think that yes, it is a legitimate tool, obviously, to raise gain or raise some more revenue. However, I think the percentage increase is extremely excessive, and the fact that they've come out and did it so underhandedly shows that they're obviously finding it very hard to justify to their client base, which gives you an indication that it's just totally unwarranted and unfair. I think it's totally unwarranted and unfair, the increase, especially judged on the type of football they serve up, the type of players they buy, the type of service and product that we receive as customers. In many metrics, there's no way you can justify the price increase. In fact, you can't even justify the current prices based on our current performance in terms of trophies won, us challenging for trophies, the type of players we signed, almost going back for 20 years, I guess. I mean, the last marquee signing was what, Van der Vaart, and that was for, was it 8 million when he first came? So, hardly a big money signing in that respect. I think the key point is, from what I gathered from what Alistair Gold said, I saw the Last Word on Spurs podcast with the Supporters Trust chairman on there, is that they're picking and choosing the wrong battles to fight. What they should have done is backed the ENIC and Leave Out movement a lot earlier, because it was legitimate and we had good reason to cause a fuss. And one of the reasons was that we were being charged an exorbitant amount of money, and that they were eroding the values of the club in many ways, which I'm sure we'll cover as we talk. And two, we're getting served dross effectively. There's no plan. There's no coherent strategy. And we talk about this week in, week out, the same stuff over and over again. So I'm not going to repeat it all. But the Supporters Trust should not only be worried about the ticket prices, but they should be worried about the bigger picture of what's happening at Spurs. And I don't think they are. They keep saying we want to maintain a professional dialogue with Tottenham, but they just keep sending emails and there's no follow-up action. Now, if the reason you send a warning and then you send a penalty notice, right? And then if you don't adhere to the penalty notice, you get judged, you get fined and you get thrown in front of the judge. Well, from their perspective, they've sent their emails. What's the next action? They haven't got a next action. It's just more emails and more words. And I don't think that's good enough. So that's my take on it.
What do you make of the actual financial gain that this is going to bring to us? Because for me, I don't think it even puts a dent in the kind of change we want at Spurs. So
it
was it
doesn't mean it's irrelevant. The damage that it has caused and will cause to the fan base long term, in terms of fans feeling towards the club, and then in turn them gaining supporters from a young age, and effectively inducted them into the Tottenham Hotspur way, let's call it, is going to be damaged for decades to come if they keep on like this. I think my own personal opinion on this is it's a strategic move to effectively price out the noisy fans that want change. So by them raising the prices, they price out the fans that want change and can't afford to go to the games, and that way they buy themselves more time to do whatever they want. That, I think, that's the real reason why the prices have gone up.
So you think the price have gone up to try and force out the noisy fans?
Correct.
And that's what
Lee,
I say,
go
Maz.
for it.
Like, it's easy enough
No,
for
go,
people
Jim.
to say don't go. No, I was just going to say to Maz, it's easy enough for people to say, oh, just don't go. But the fact that, from my point of view, what I think is that's what he's trying to drive away, right? He's trying to drive those true fans who've been there, been through it all, generational fans and things like that. And he just wants the people that turn up for the day trippers.
And
So-
it's sad though. Fans have gone there since the 60s, 70s, 80s, and so forth. Who say if what you're saying, and this is not a bad, it's not completely out there, Maz. You're thinking about wanting to drown out those opinionated fans, if you like. It's not out there at all. But it's sad, man. It's sad if that were to be even true. The fact that we're even thinking that could be a possibility.
Oh, Vicky, we're talking about £2 million. Still saying, right?
Yeah,
Saying, right?
all of this for the sake of yeah.
2 million quid. Do you know what pees me off the most? We've just been extended to have 16 events
Yeah,
there now.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
moved
fine.
from 6 to 16 events.
yeah.
And
They
he's
got in with someone with the Haringey Council who've allowed all of this to
yeah,
happen.
but how much money is that going to make?
Yeah.
And you're hitting fans for 2 million quid.
Well, they're hitting specific fans for 2 million quid.
Sorry, legal.
No, I was just going to say.
Can I offer an alternative coming from someone that this is probably going to be a very unpopular speech,
Say it.
and
That's what it's
it's
about.
just that this is a alternative scenario to what you're thinking. So this 2 million extra a year, whatever it is as far as I'm concerned, it's got nothing to do with transfers. It's got nothing to do with wages. It's got nothing to do with that football side of things. Could it simply be that we know all the revenues from years past, we've seen the financials, etc., but we're now sitting in a time where just because we say people can't afford it, electricity bills are going up, people can't afford this, people can't afford that, businesses aren't exempt from this, right? So could this simply be a case of Tottenham have sat down and go, right, what was our average income from match days? What was our outgoings? They're not exempt from the electricity, the water, the gas, the wages going up because of inflation, everything that it costs to, it costs to run the stadium on a match day. And is this simply them covering their backs from all of those increases? I mean, they're not going to run it for, they're not going to run a match day and make absolutely no money. That's absolutely, understandable. But if all this is cutting into their profits, they're obviously going to put prices up, because who's the one that loses out in any scenario? It's always the consumer. Whenever a business has prices rise for them, they always pass it on to the consumer. For me, that sounds like a more likely scenario than just trying to get rid of riffraff. But I mean, I can't hold my hands up because I very rarely go to the games. But as a business, it sounds to me like they are just passing any increasing costs from match days over to us. Do I think the prices are fair? No, don't think they are at all. I think, when I used to start going, I think you could get the tickets for like 20 quid or something like that. Now I'm being told it's 47 quid for a basic to go and watch Luton. It's ridiculous. But
more.
Can I just counter
more?
that? Okay.
I'm quite happy, but I'm sure that's to do with it, not just to get rid of riffraff. But
I'll come to you straight away, Mike. I just want to do one counter, and then the floor is yours, right? Utility companies use the excuse that prices are going up, and in Britain, they all recorded billions of pounds profit. So clearly, the price they've increased everything by did not justify their reason for doing so. Also, Spurs have made a loss 2 years in a row. You can defer those losses for the next 2 years. So Spurs will not encounter paying corporation tax for 2 years now. So this doesn't add up to me.
And that's what I'm saying. It doesn't add up. But all I'm saying is if they were, and this is the problem still, communication from the club, right? They are awful at it. They just do something and then they don't explain why. If they were to come out a week ago and say, look, our operating costs on a match day is X, Y, and Z, and this is costing more, this is costing more, and we have to put prices up in line with inflation, all this kind of stuff, then maybe £5 a ticket people could, they could potentially suck that up. But just to put prices up and not say an absolute word as to why, that's what starts all of this what's going on? Or is it because of this? Is it because of that? Or it's real bad communication on their part, and they're
Timing's
the worst
bad as
club
well.
for it.
It's hard
Awful.
to wrap my head. Forbes, which is a very reputable, one of the leading magazines, regards to finance, and they do a great job of regards to clubs and franchises. Tottenham, in regards to generated revenue, was third behind 2 NFL teams. That is highly impressive. Third. And so for me, I mean, you bring up a point, but I find it hard for that to believe that, because we finished third. I mean, just came out in June that they've banked. I mean, Enoch has banked. They've made funds from the stadium.
Mari, for people that don't know, just to explain what you're talking about, that was the third in a list of all sports organizations in the world. Third in the world for all sports organizations, not just football.
The first two were NFL teams. The Dallas Cowboys, their stadium is an entertainment center. And matter of fact, the other day I was thinking, the Dallas Cowboys have a prestigious history. They have not come close to the Super Bowl since that new stadium has come up. They've made loads of big boxing events, president events, last 25 years. I mean, in that new shiny stadium, but they have not come close to the Super Bowl. You can imagine their fans wanting to go back to the old stadium, like we want to go back to old White Hart Lane. But I find that hard to believe, finishing third behind the Dallas Cowboys. I forgot who was the second team that that's made the most, to then be in a situation to raise ticket prices. I just can't fathom that. It's just, I'm speechless.
That's overall revenue, though, right? That's income rather than profit.
Yeah.
So I could be on that list next year if I say that I made £1 billion, but I only made £1 profit. I could be first on that list.
Do you know what's dubious about this? Right, last year we made a £63 million loss. Here's the funny thing: don't buy Richarlison, you don't make that loss. So it's almost as if Spurs said, "How can we go into a loss?" It's almost how it feels like, and for tax reasons, that's not a bad thing to do. If they know they can defer it for 2 years. I'm not saying they did it on purpose, but it's not a bad reason.
Loopholes. I'm just saying, you're right, and the complexities of a company this bad, and the finances are a lot more complex than we get to see from the front. But you know, the one bit that pees me off more than anything is just complete lack of communication.
Well, we found that through social media, so yeah,
exactly.
Right.
It's the wrong way of dealing with it. Really is the wrong way of dealing with it.
It was literally advertising when memberships, the tickets go on sale for memberships. They scroll down, and it was like, oh, and our new prices for the year are.
But that was after FJP.
So for people who are memberships, people for memberships, they've screwed them once because the membership went up. They're screwing them again for tickets.
But all the membership had been paid. So those of you, those were like on the One Hotspur members, or those were the season ticket, or that was all being paid. That everyone's had automatic renewals. You know what I mean? So once they've taken all the money from that, then it's like, oh, by the way, this is happening as well.
But if they even if they tell people before it, maybe some people would have gone, no, sod your membership. I ain't going there now.
Yeah, cool.
You know what I mean?
But they accept
membership done, and now 2 months later.
Still, the other night, when was it Friday night? When was it Saturday night? When we was on, somebody in the chat said that he renewed his membership and his son's membership before knowing all of this, and it's like he said he wouldn't have renewed. And this is terrible, man. This is terrible.
It's a sting.
Do you know? For me, the biggest screw up with this whole raising the ticket prices is the last 4 years has been nothing short of unacceptable, diabolical, and just please leave. And just as soon as the club began to maybe gain a bit of positive momentum a manager who's speaking and saying all the things fans want to hear, and a talk of cultural shift, and maybe this is what we've wanted. Again, maybe. It's
Deep
almost
breath.
like, how can we take a wrecking ball to this positive energy? What can we do to sabotage our brand Levy, brand Donna Cullen, brand Enid? What can we do? I know. Let's charge the fans.
No one's
More
hating
money.
us anymore. No one's hating us anymore. What do we do?
Do you know what the sad?
Kicked in the nuts.
I said this the other night, man. Like,
Crazy.
we've all said at some point or another. We all said the first time we stepped at
Levy out.
what we stepped. Well, apart from that, but when the first time we all stepped in at White Hart Lane, what was our first memory? The game that we went, who we went with. As kids, we remember how we became Spurs fans. I just don't know how many of those stories we're going to hear in the next sort of however many years here onwards, because it's just going to be less and less parents that will be able to afford to take not only themselves but their children to the game. How are they going to get into football? How will they become Spurs fans? It's not. Let's have it right, guys.
It's about 40,
It
50
ain't
quid now,
easy.
isn't it?
It ain't easy for us to be Spurs fans. Imagine a kid to choose Spurs. To choose, this is going to be my team when every other team around
You will
us.
be
But
coming.
it's not. How do you draw? If you don't get the locals, if you don't get, I say the locals, but if you don't get
Younger generation.
yeah, I don't know how you're gonna. You're pricing them out because
I tell you
I
what,
don't know.
Iggy, I'm a case scenario, right? So I'm lucky enough that I'm in a position that whenever I go to watch a match in the last couple of seasons, it's been completely free for me because my mate's a season ticket holder, and when he's away, etc., he says, "Do you want the tickets? Go for it." But now sitting down and thinking, right, okay, my wife supports Spurs, my boy supports Spurs. You know, if my daughter's coming to go and watch a match next season, the only tickets we can get are lower half division matches. We're looking at 200 quid before we've even travelled, we've eaten, we've drank. That's just, and I've never had to think about it because of the fact I don't, you know. But now I'm thinking about it. I mean, that's 250 quid easy without even the ball being kicked. That's a madness for a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday afternoon. Absolute madness.
That was the other sneaky thing. Sorry, Lee. That was the other sneaky thing. Is that suddenly now Newcastle have been bumped up to Class A. Everyone else has been bumped up to the middle band. And basically, in that band C, there's literally the 3 teams that got promoted and Bournemouth.
How's Nottingham Forest band B? I can't believe that. That used to be
that's what I mean. They've
games
moved
like
everyone up.
Newcastle, Aston Villa, you know, big games, but not the elite games. Nottingham Forest,
almost like your 5, 6, 7, 8 kind of thing.
I bet that was part of the Jet Spence deal. That was.
Soon it will be just A and B. I think soon enough there will be
just A. It's Levy. It'll be just A.
But I mean, you're right, Stel, because you know what we were talking about earlier, and I was going to talk about this on one of my videos, was that momentum that people had, or people started to get, and that nice feeling about, oh, Ange's coming, oh, the dream's happening, it's going to change, that carrot that people dangle in front of you. If they were to come out now, and instead of raising the prices, just go, do you know what? We'll have a 10% reduction. Now, I know that sounds painful for anyone and doesn't make economical sense. But the fact that you've just got 16 extra events that you can put on, that £2 million that they're going to make, the £2 million, if they were to give back to fans, how much more momentum would that grab and get everyone behind it a little bit instead of kicking everyone in the teeth?
It definitely stops Alistair Gold, Henry Winter, social media, YouTube channels for having anything to fire at Enoch and Levy. So, yeah, you're right. Can I actually, do you know what? I've just thought of something. Let me ask you guys a question. Do you think that they've done this because they know they can get away with it, that fans aren't going to stand up to it? Because, like I said, this happened in 2016, and I remember this because my friends are Liverpool fans, and they told me that they were going to do it. When they the new owners built a new stand, and they said that they're going to raise the ticket prices, and they said no. Why are we paying for this? You're going to generate more money from more seats. You don't, we're working class people. Don't do this to us. So on the 77th minute, they walked out because the prices went up to £77. Within a week, all the tabloids, the mainstream media grabbed hold of it, and they reversed their decision and put the prices back to what they were. Do you think Levy doesn't fear that? He thinks, nah.
Well,
Spurs fans, you're not made of that kind of material.
It goes to my point earlier, right? It's like the supporters trust, they don't follow through. So you interact, you give them the warning, right? And then they don't do anything about it. They just continue as they are and just send more emails and more letters and whatever they do, right? There needs to be action at the end of the threat. And the fan base hasn't shown really much action towards the ownership and ENIC. Therefore, they do feel that they can get away with anything because they have.
Do you know what's funny? Last word on Spurs last night. They had the Spurs Supporters Trust and someone involved with the new Fab. And they were talking about how they were all disappointed and unhappy with the communication, and it's not right to put the price up on fans, and they're having this big debate. And I just posted in the comments about 3-4 times, why is everyone on the panel moaning and complaining when you won't take action? You won't take action, so he's going to continue to do it. I got blocked. They unblocked me about 5 minutes later. And then other people in the comments started agreeing with me. And all their faces changed. And I knew that my comment had just got to them. And I just thought, why won't you speak on it? Just like talk on it. Why won't you talk about? And I just feel that no matter what channel you go on, except for us and maybe 1 or 2 others, if that, everyone will talk about the news, but no one will act on it. Whereas, at least we go to the protest. We do. We go to the stadium and show despair.
So the only thing I can say is, like I said, I wasn't there during the days. I mean, this is
miss much.
I mean, this is weird because it's just Tottenham. Because I can't say even Barcelona, Napoli, Lazio, you name a club. These fans are so passionate about their club, and if the ownership or leadership does anything to disgrace the club, anything to upset the fans, they speak up. And for some reason, I'm like, I don't know if we're just too entitled or we're just too scared, or it's just, I keep going back to Stockholm Syndrome. We're so thankful that Levy saved us from bankrupt, that fear of just going
But Murray, he didn't. Sir Alan Sugar saved us. Sir Alan Sugar saved Tottenham financially.
There's certain fan bases, or clubs like Man United, Liverpool, even Everton. They like up north especially. I don't think it's a London thing, man. I don't think. To be saying that, Chelsea did it as well. Chelsea and Arsenal fans did it. So I don't know. I just don't know. I just don't think it's either. It doesn't. It really doesn't. Maybe it's our issue. Maybe it's not an issue for all Spurs fans. Maybe because a lot of the Spurs fans are middle class now, man. It's a middle class.
I want to find out.
I don't know.
I want to find out what is.
You go to the pubs all around Tottenham on a match day. A lot of them aren't middle class. They're.
I don't know. I'm not saying. I just don't know why
a little bit spicy, a little bit lively.
I just don't know why it isn't an issue because I said this. I said this from my own personal. I'm talking about me now. I got my son's a Spurs fan. It's like you have to be like Lee said it right, man. Like you're looking at because don't forget because you don't go there every game. In this case, I wouldn't. I take my son every so often. When you do go, you want to make a day of it, don't you? So you have to take into account that you're going to be spending not just the ticket money, the whole day, the whole day. You're going to make a day because you want to make it memorable.
Travel, food, program.
So yeah, you don't want to say no, son, no, leave food. We'll eat when we get back. Oh, the match program, don't worry about that. Or you don't want to take someone and then just take the joy out because the kids won't understand it, man.
It's a memory, isn't it? It's those memories you want to build for them later.
Yeah, so this is what I'm saying. Like, if I stop taking him to the games, he'll still be a Spurs fan. He just won't be as engaged because there's no connection. But this is the connection, though, between fans and the club. Has to be two ways. The club right now and everything, the way football is moving right now, they're becoming more disconnected towards us as the fans, and that to me is more dangerous than anything else. That's my thoughts on it, man. I don't understand it. Why people are not pissed off about it? I don't get it.
I
I'm
think
not
our
saying
fan base has lost its soul, Iggy. I think our fan base has lost its soul. Listen, when I go to an ABBA game in Cyprus, it's a different world. It's not even close to what I experienced at Tottenham. When I go to overseas, not often, and I get to go to games, which is very rare. It's a different experience. You know, there's certain grounds you go to up in this country, and you think, you know what, it's a little bit different. When I go to Spurs, I think the Spurs fans are extremely loyal, like beyond belief. But I also think that die-hard love for the game and to demand glory is not in the DNA anymore. I think it's more about, as long as we're in that top 6 group and we get a bit of top 4 and the hope of winning a trophy is real, we're all right with that. And that's why I say I think standards have lowered in the fan base. I think as a fan base, we have a low standard.
Do you know what I would like to hear? I'd like to hear the away fans.
And no one will debate that with me.
I'd like to hear the away fans that go to Spurs, that go to White Hart Lane or the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Well, they sing "We Want Levy to Stay." They're united.
I don't know.
They're united in singing "We Want Levy to Stay."
It was
Chelsea,
Arsenal,
all our rivals are united in singing that.
It was a Champions League game, wasn't it, Iggy? I think there was a Champions. There was a Champions League game where the away fans came. Was it Marseille? I can't remember who. And they were holding banners up, like saying, "How can you charge us 80 euros for this," or whatever it was.
AC Milan fans.
Yeah,
I remember.
They were going mad. They were going mad. They paid X amount of money. But I want to know from the away fans that go to Tottenham how they see it, because it's all different. Because we're in that bubble. I'd like to see how what do they see, banter aside and taking a piss. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about when they come, compared to say when they go elsewhere.
They say great stadium.
How do they see Tottenham Hotspur Stadium?
Well, it's probably a day out for them, though, isn't it? It's a day out for them. Oh, nice stadium. Beer comes from the bottom of the glass.
Yeah.
Well, hey, we had a good time and we won.
You're right, Ariel. You're right. It was a Sporting Lisbon fans.
Let's be fair, though, right? There's no denying that the stadium is a good-looking stadium. It's got really good facilities. It's got really plus points for it's amazing, right? Yeah. All credit to them for that. But there is also truth in the banter that we receive as well. There's always an element of truth to it.
Always is.
And I'm pretty sure that the fans do come here. They think exactly what JP and you said, Iggy. Yeah, great stadium. It's soulless. You know, you're not won anything, so what's the point? And that is a huge. That is the truth, isn't it? It's banter, but that is the truth.
Imagine paying €70, Sporting Lisbon fans, €70 to go and watch. There's someone's. I can hear feedback with a microphone.
It's a tornado.
Yeah, someone's.
Sorry.
It's me, mate. It's me.
No, I was saying, like, €70 is crazy. €70 is crazy. When you pay most away games are 30, 40 quid. Most away games here in England, and even European games. Like, if you're on away end, you pay that sort of price. But it's just crazy to be expecting to pay €70 just to go and watch a game of football. If we're on away team,
to me, it feels like.
They're expanded it.
I think it's next season, isn't it?
5th place gets you Champions League football next year.
It's not 5th place. It's 5th. It's
the coefficient points or whatever.
Yeah, whoever finishes outside the top 4 and has the highest coefficient points. So that actually means that if Liverpool, Chelsea, Spurs, one of us finishes outside, we probably won't get it. If Arsenal finish outside with us, then we would get it over them, and probably over Man United actually. But
I think the whole thing's pathetic. The whole thing's pathetic.
Just put everyone in the Champions League. Just everyone in. Who cares?
Do you know what? It
Still
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you
European
get
League.
You
isn't it?
don't. Do you know what? Just abolish relegation. Abolish where you finish in the league. Just put them all in. It's like the World Cup. We're going from 32 teams. What is it to 46, 48 teams? Just let every country in. Skip the qualifiers. Just put them all in the World Cup and be done with.
Everyone in the pot. Yes.
Exactly. Just put
Royal
them all in.
Royal
Man.
Rumble. It could be like a Royal Rumble.
You just don't ever have the most successful teams that have won the World Cup. Don't ever let them miss the World Cup again. So I don't have to go through that pain ever again. Like
It's
just put them all in, man.
it's
Yeah,
the
you're just saying that 'cause you
dilution.
didn't qualify, isn't it?
It's of course. Once in a lifetime is bad, but twice. No, I don't want to see that again. Just say, look, just put everyone in the World Cup.
It's almost the dilution of merit just to line their coffers with more money, right?
Oh
Spot
my
on.
God, it's just painful.
Spot on.
Let the World Cup go on for 3 months. Put all the nations in there.
There you go.
Today-
So I've got a really good lady friend who's a Leeds fan who watches us and lives in London who went to watch Tottenham, and she said it was like visiting a library.
Wow.
Yeah.
But it is a bit soulless in there at the moment, and like, let's be fair, like the football really weren't engaging with people.
Listen, our fan base has changed. I think there's two problems. One is that there's three things. One, it's hard to get excited when the football's rubbish and you're losing. Number two, it is pricing out a lot of fans that would be a bit more lively, I think, and a bit more confident standing up and starting chants. And finally, the fan base as a whole has changed. Guys, I see people with jeans turned up, red boots, they've almost dressed up to go to the game, and they've got, long, smart, casual jackets, scarf wrapped around like someone who writes poetry.
Hey, that was just the AC Milan fans.
What's wrong with that, though, Phil?
Nothing's wrong with it, but they're not the kind of fans that are going to create atmosphere. And I saw them, and I won't forget this. Two of them went to the bar and they asked for a glass of wine, and I thought, this is different. It's just it's changed. And I looked, and I thought, there's nothing about you, without trying to be judgmental, although I was. There's nothing about you that says you're going to start and you're going to get this going.
Did you not say the cheese room's downstairs?
They have cheese and grapes on a wooden board and having a bit of crap.
There's a small section in the South Stand in the marketplace that all bounce up and down and have a sing song. It's about maximum 1,000 fans. The rest, I don't know. I don't know.
What the experience feels like, and Mari, you can slap me, do whatever you like. I'm pretty sure you can tell me if I'm wrong, but the few times that I've been to sporting events in the US, baseball, basketball, it feels more like a family day out than it does a group of die-hard fans in the stadium watching their team play football. That's what it feels like to me. It's more like a family experience than it is. I've only been to a few, but that's what it feels like more than anything.
No, you're correct, especially new stadiums. If you have a new stadium, it is more family friendly. The more older stadiums or arenas, it's where it's more ruckus. But the newer stadiums, it's the way they space out the fans. I'm not saying that it's not loud, but it's the reason why college sports in America is huge, in the sense that there's still a lot of raw fans that are close to the stadiums and stuff. So,
that's what I get. From watching them, but yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you're correct.
And there's no fact that Joe Lewis is from that thing, so that's what he's trying to turn the experience into, right?
Yeah,
it's all about what you can sell.
We will get there once the NFL, once the Tottenham Tornadoes launches. We will get there. Today, Ange Postecoglou did his first kind of major interview. He was asked questions from the journalists. There were some talking points that came out of it. In general, it was very positive. I'm here for the club. I'm here for the players. I'm here for all the right reasons. He said all the right things. He also slipped in that dangerous sentence where he discussed about, I'm here to bring success. It's like, don't do that. That's what they all do. They all say that. Be careful. But anyway, it was a very positive. I think most fans, you've got to be crazy to not like him, not warm to him. He's got that personality. But there were some talking points that came from it. He said, "I want to bring European football to this club. I want it to be where it deserves to be." He said, "There's an enormous challenge here. I love that. What a great story if we get it right." And he explained how he's relishing the challenge of managing Tottenham Hotspur. And also, the Kane question came up. He said he wants Kane to be a part of the plans. He's waiting for him to come back. He's looking forward to speaking to him. But he also said he's not had any assurances over his future. Who wants to go first?
Well,
Go on, Murray.
Go on, Niggy. Go, man.
Well, flip a coin. No, let's flip a coin. Hold on. I've got a coin.
It's fine, Mari. Go ahead,
Mari.
man. Go ahead.
Go on,
No,
Mari.
I want to flip a coin. I haven't got a coin.
There's
I haven't got a coin.
not necessary.
You know, he's had
Mari,
2
go on.
weeks off, and now he's come back with a lot of gumption in him, innit?
Yeah, exactly.
He has a bit,
Mari,
ain't
go
he?
for it. Go
Listen,
for it.
give me 2 weeks. He'll be like, fucking leaving. Oh my God.
The pro is that in comparison to, I guess, Conte's first press conference, where we were reminded where we are, we're not a successful club, which is true, but it does hurt. It's not really nice to have that as your first comment, so your first conference. So I would say, everybody love Big Ange. I like Ange in regards to he's really bringing a positive, and it seems he's bringing a no-nonsense approach to the team, and we want that. We love it. I want it. Though I've heard it before, but that's the best he could do for a conference, which is great. My only nitpick I have, and I know Stel's gonna talk about this, is the thing is the highest. The thing is, I know you guys want European football and you want that. No. I mean, having European football is great. I want trophies. I want glory. I want the club to say, I want to win the Premier League. If it's a 4-year, 5-year project, I want to get this club to a point where we're winning Premier Leagues, winning domestic cups, and going to Europe. I hate the fact that he says just Europe. Yes, he used the word success, but here's the difference. He blatantly says Europe, and I'm sorry, I had that with Redknapp, Europe. I had that with Poch, Europe. I had that with Conte, Europe. I'm tired of Europe. I'm tired of it. I've only, in the 16 years I've been a Spurs fan, I've only had one taste of glory. That was the Carling Cup at the time. I want trophies. I want the ambition of we're going to prepare to win the Premier League. I don't want to say, well, this club deserves European football. That's what Daniel Levy wants, European football, right? And I'm not saying I don't want European football, but mention the league, mention the domestic cups, mention those too. I want glory, because the scary thing, and maybe I'm suffering from post-traumatic leave disorder, when I hear we deserve Europe, right? I'm thinking top 4, top 5. That's our goal. That's our ambition. Top 5. No, I want to win shit. Excuse my French. I want to win the Premier League. That should be our aim. Newcastle, when they came in, they said we have a 10-year plan to win the league. That's what I want to win the league. I want to win cups and play in Europe. Mention those other two. Mention the league. Mention the cups, not just Europe. Because if you're just mentioning Europe, that's basically saying Levy. That's what Levy wants. Top 5, top 4 was top 5, top 4 Europe. So that's my little rant about that. Other than that, it was a great press conference. It's just that little nitpick about we deserve European football. No, we deserve trophies.
I'm not saying I disagree with you, Murray, in any way whatsoever, because we obviously want to win stuff, right? But just as a question, if he came in and said, "Right, we're going to win the Premier League," wouldn't we all just fall over laughing
I wouldn't. I
and
wouldn't.
just go, "You've got no chance. You need the backing of blah blah blah, and it's going to take 6-7 years."
I mean, realistically, I know we can't win the Premier League this year. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying I've come in. He signed a 4-year, 5-year contract, right? That should be our highest aim. I don't know why people are afraid. Not saying you, JP. People are afraid. To say, I want to win the Premier League. When I play, I'm like, then
It's not
you know what?
solely
The first
depend. It's not. Yeah, but that's not solely dependent on himself, is it? Winning the Premier League, it's like there's a lot of things that have to fall into places for you to come out and openly say, "I want to win a Premier League," or "This season we will be challenging," or whatever words to that effect. You have to be more sure than not that the people are right there behind you, pushing that same idea, and they're going to absolutely do everything. Listen, he wants to bring European football back because it's obviously we missed out this season, so that should be for sure the first objective, to try and get us back into Europe, be it Europa or whatever else. I think I've heard him say already that he's taken the domestic cups. He's going to be taking them seriously, because realistically speaking, if we are going to bring any success,
Keeping in Dombele as well.
if we are going to bring in any success, is to do well in the cup competitions. So I think, listen, I don't mind the press conference. I think it was a good press conference. It gave us a little bit for me, it gave me a little bit more of an insight of his personality, how he came across. What I didn't like in the press conference today is these microphones that covered half of his face.
I saw that as well.
And the fact that,
It's like pop-up pirate.
the journalist, he's having to pop his head up and down because the microphone was too high. I wanted to see his face properly next time, and also the journalists in that room still not being given a microphone to ask their questions. We can't hear the question; we can only ever hear the answers. Things like details like that. I mean, I look at situations. I think to myself, let's
Iggy,
really.
can I?
So yeah,
Can I?
for me, good press conference. There's a lot of stuff that he said. You know, the Kane situation. He doesn't know how that's going to go down. I know he has his own ideas. I think he wants to hear Kane and see where his head's at. But so, if you think of all the things that he's depending on, he has to see where the board is going to be at when it comes to supporting him. He's best striker, Spurs' best striker ever. What's going to be going on with him? Will he get the players in that he wants at the back, defensive, the defenders? All these things in place. How is he going to come out and say, "Yeah, you know what, guys, we're going to go for the cups this year. We're going to go for it," when all of those situations still haven't been answered? He'd be putting himself out there to fail, man, straight away. So I understand. I think we can get there, but I think this season, for me, I'm looking at it with eyes where I just want to, from the beginning to the end of it, I just want to see there's a plan, and we are progressing with that plan. No expectations for me this season. I really do.
I thought his interview was really good. I thought he answered the questions really well. He was quite diplomatic. I think he was also quite honest. I liked when he said that he took the job because the club's not right and it needs fixing. Yeah, and
my only question. So sorry, Baz. My only question is, what is glory? You tell me, what is glory?
Glory is winning trophies, Mo, but we're not in that situation. We
No,
are
I think the question is not what do you think glory is? What do you think he meant by it? Because the funny thing is, he said, I want to get Spurs back into Europe. That's where he deserved to be. Is that him saying, listen, that's what the club wants, right? That's their remit. He never mentioned glory to us as fans. What's glory to?
I think it's unreasonable to expect the guy to come in and then understand all the baggage that we've got for the last 22 years and understand that in like a month or 2 weeks or whatever. I think that's just unfair, so I think he's aware of the troubles of Spurs for sure. And now he's going to be even more aware as time goes on. But I think I think it's valid points, Mari, but I think to nitpick things like, define what you mean by glory, define this, define that, what are your expectations? I think it's too early. We've got to allow the man to build his team and set his targets and his goals. We can't just say, no, we're starved of success for 22 years. I want you to win the league in the first year, because then we're hypocrites. Because we were saying back Conte and give him time. We can't just expect Ange to come in and demand that he speaks in the way that we want him to speak straight away.
No, I get what you're saying. Like I said, Man City is going to win the league this year and next year. I'm just saying that.
I don't know about that, Murray. I'm worried about Arsenal. I'm not going to lie. I'm worried about Arsenal.
We should have bigger aspirations. I guess that's a long-term goal.
Spending big money,
and the reason why I'm maybe a little agitated, a little nitpicking, is because also to support the guy, bring in some center backs. I know I'm going to get.
I agree.
It's been 2 to 3 years, a huge necessity. We're about to go to Australia in about 2-3 days. We bleed 63 goals. 63 goals. And we're about to leave in 2 days, and we still haven't got not the 2 center backs we need mandatory. We haven't got that 1 center back. So that's what
you're talking about bringing glory to our lane, Mari. He's not stupid. He's not going to say that, is he?
That should be our highest goal. Like return to.
Listen,
yes, that's nice.
You shouldn't have to declare it. Of course,
but Iggy, you're lowering your standards now.
It's not. No. It's not like. Do you know
it
what?
Is. You're lowering your standards.
No, it's not. But
you're accepting. Like
I'm not accepting. What are you talking about? Where at what point am I accepting anything that you say? I'm not accepting it.
But justifying things that he said, you're accepting.
I'm not accepting. No, it's not acceptance. It's looking at the situation
for what it is, man. Oh, we're going to have a rebuild. We never built. What are we rebuilding? We've never built.
No. But I'm looking at the situation. I'm looking at the situation for what it is. We need to get these players, like you just said, the defenders. I can only start taking the team seriously and say, do you know what? Maybe this year we can do something. I don't question. Listen, Postecoglou looks like an honest guy, but then again, I thought that Conte, as savage as he was always honest with us fans in the sense of what he always told us as much as he could. I don't think Postecoglou is probably made from the same cloth. Perhaps the way the deliveries is different, but I think he has that straightforward communication with the fans. He can tell us as much as he can, but he will. But it's not just solely dependent on him. You have to look at the situation. We like Mari said, 63 goals last season. We need to address that situation. Have we done it? No, because the defenders are still the same. Our first game against West Ham on the 18th, which is 8 days away, we're probably going to have the same back four that we had last season.
Right. And he also said, right, hold on, I'm going to call you up on this.
It's not lowering the expectations. Looking at the situation for what it is.
I'm going to call, Murray, I'm going to call every fan out on this now. In that interview today, Postecoglou said, I know, every fan.
Call me out.
Postecoglou said, I know exactly what I've walked into. I know what job I'm accepting. So if we start the season with dog shit defenders and Dyers here and Sant and all the usual, right?
Yeah.
He has chosen that because the same criticism every fan had for Conte and Jose, I want the same applied to this guy and Poch. If you
Postecoglou out.
No, I'm not saying that.
That's what the fans will do. They did it with every manager so far.
Well. This is the thing now. If we start the season, and we don't know, right? I'm waiting. I've said on the 1st of September, I'll tell you exactly what I think. But if we start, if Dyer, if the club say keep him 1 more year and he agrees, it's on him.
How do we know that? How do we know what he said?
No, I said if the club says Eric Dyer's staying and he accepts it, then it's on him.
How would we know that he's accepting it?
We'll find out over time. It always comes out. If he comes out, like I think Mourinho once said, I'm happy with the squad. Whatever you're lying or you're playing the game. For me, I'm sizing up Postecoglou. I want to know what kind of a manager are you, because all this nicey, happy, say the right things, that's great. I've heard it before. Doesn't mean I think you're any different. But if at the start of the season, I'm going to look at that squad And I'm going to say, right, has he been backed and what's he done about it? Because if you then come out and start saying, do you know what? I'm happy with these players and whatnot. I mean, I see the same shit from Dyer, Sanchez, Sessegnon, all these clowns who I know will not succeed under him because they're simply not good enough. Then I'm sorry, I'm going to call out every fan on it. But again, if right, maybe he says he's got to go. Maybe he doesn't take Dyer to. Maybe he doesn't take half these players. On
so the only way we know that Postecoglou, he's not happy. Let's just say, I'm going to go with what you're saying. Come 1st of September, these players, these clowns that you call them, still at the club, and we haven't been able to get quite over the line with some of the transfers that we should have brought in, and we still haven't got rid of all the players.
Don't play Dyer, you don't play Stairs, you don't play Sanchez.
Let's just say we find ourselves.
You've got a 4-year contract. You bring through the academy centre backs. You say, right, I'm going to build with them because they can't be any worse than you. Because last season we conceded 63
but that's
goals.
A manager
I'm going to play with you.
That's a manager. That's a manager. That would be a manager that's taking a stance against the board. Is going to stay a stance against the club. Is going to bring players from the academy to do the job that he wants, and you don't know what kind of results that's going to bring in. So you know the fans are going to get on his case.
But we know what results we're going to get with. At the end of the season, correct me if I'm wrong. Did every single fan not say Dyer, Sanchez, you get out? They've got to. Did we not all say?
I'm not disagreeing with any of that, but you're saying that the manager to show you his intent, he has to say whether they're here, whether they leave the club or not. They will not be playing at the club ever again. So therefore, you're going to have a situation where they might leave or they might not leave, but they're going to be out of the projects. Therefore, training alone, earning the money that they are. You haven't brought in the players because you haven't got rid of those guys. You're going to bring in all the youngsters in, and you're not going to get no results. So before you know it, 6, 7, 8, 9 games in, you're going to get hashtag Postecoglou out. So how you think he's going to put some?
Who's in charge?
Yeah, but are you listening to what I'm saying?
Yeah, I am. So I'm asking you, who's in charge?
I'm saying 8, 9 games into it, he's going to lose every game because he's playing the youngsters.
Change of culture. Where is it then? Either the manager's in charge or Levy is. If it's Levy, there's no cultural change. If it's the manager, why is Dyer still here? Why is Sanchez still here?
How many clubs are coming in for Dyer? How many? Have you read one article where any club say, I want Eric Dyer? I haven't seen anything.
We said to him, mate, you're on the transfer list. We don't want you.
Yeah, but you don't know. We haven't, right?
No, I don't.
This is what I'm saying. You don't know the position that people are taking. Maybe you think you might think that. But at work, you can't. You might think something at work, all right, in your line of work, but you can't go in just as you started and go all guns blazing. Of course, you're going to have your opinion on certain things. Of course, you're going to have your stance. But at the same day, you are at work, man, and he has to play the game a little bit. He has to.
We've got to give him a fair crack at the whip, don't we? I mean, to expect him to come in and just
I want us to treat him the same way we treat the other managers, Matt. I just want us to treat him the same way we treat the others. Because look at these comments. This shows me how tapped in the fan base is. Still, you're going to be Ange out. Being Ashvik, you're going to be Ange out, mate.
No one's Ange out. No one's Ange out.
I backed Conte when everyone wanted him out. I backed Jose when everyone wanted him out. I demanded Poch not be sacked. I will be Ange in to the day he is either leaves or gets fired. I will not. I've never turned against a manager. So those comments,
I think
I'm just saying.
I think we're all on the same page. We've never really
saying,
I don't.
As a channel and as a group, we're the most supportive of the managers out of everyone.
Massively.
I don't think we've listen. We here. I'm not saying the Spurs fans as a whole, but we here have never ever said, you know what, a manager's got to go. We've said that the football isn't great to watch. We've been at games where I've said at half time, my God, this is a killer right here. There have been games under Conte and under Joseph where I've said that, but I've never said, you know what, this geezer's got to go, because I've always known the control hasn't solely been on them. It hasn't been solely dependent on the manager. If everything around him is pushing to do well, the fans, everyone else, and it's the manager that's failing, then yeah, of course you say he's got to go. But it's never been a situation where everything around him has been perfect and you know, all the same direction and having a clear plan We've not been involved in the plan. We still continue not to be involved in any plan. We don't have we don't have a direction. We've just gone from one manager because we were fed up. All they've taken from last season is that we as fans, we're all fed up of watching dross football. That's it. That's the only thing that this club have recognised, that we were fed up with the dross football. So now they brought in a manager who has a different idea of football, which is more attacking, but it's more proponent to go forwards, which we're all on board with. We're all on board with that. But that's the only thing that's been addressed. What else has been addressed? The defensive situation hasn't been addressed yet. The situation with Kane, we're waiting for him to come back on order to address that. There's so many things within the team that's not been addressed. I don't know how, for me, there are big calls in there. Defenders and attack, for me, is massive call. And the other thing, and I mentioned it in today's video, by the way, Richarlison, £60 million player. If Kane stays, this guy can't carry on being a bit part player. If he's not good enough, we ship him out. Or we get rid of Kane, this guy becomes our number 9, because I don't see the point of having a £60 million investment. If one, you don't believe him to be the number 1 striker, should Kane go, or 2, you keep him with Kane to be a bit part player. What is it we're going to do with him? And that's why I said today, do we stick or do we twist? Because at this point in time, £60 million player, just to be there just for the sake of it, get rid and get someone else in that's going to be more useful to the cause. And use that money that perhaps you will generate from his sale. Whether you get £60 million back or not is another matter. You can use it to fund in the areas that you require.
I just cannot accept, and I'm not going to just change who I am as a fan because Postecoglou's given a really nice interview, which I've seen many a time from managers. Right? Listen, I'm Ange in. I hope the guy smashes it. It'd be phenomenal, right? He reminds me of a bit of Poch. There's something Poch about him, maybe a bit more wiser as well. He's an older manager. He's seen a bit more than what Poch did when he came to us, right? I like him. All I'm saying is this. I hate when fans talk nonsense and then they go and jump on something that contradicts themselves, which is why it's nonsense in the beginning. When I hear cultural change, that means Dyer has to go. Sanchez has to go.
The dead would all have to go. I just don't.
It means you don't buy one centre back; you buy 2 centre backs, and that doesn't include Clement Longley. So on the 1st of, listen, I'm telling you all now, I'm warning you, right? You can prepare yourself. On the 1st of September, if Dyer and Sanchez are at this club, we haven't bought 2 centre backs, or Clement Longley's back. No, there's no change. It's going to be the same.
I'd agree with that. If we still find ourselves with the 2 centre backs, we still find ourselves with Lo Celso, with Ndombele. God help me. God help me. That's all I'm going to say. And don't.
Anjin and Ndombele.
I still wouldn't blame the manager. I wouldn't blame the manager. I would just say nothing's changed at Spurs. Nothing.
But he said he accepts the situation. So all the fans blamed Jose. All the fans blamed Poch as well, by the way. I was in the South Stand when they all chanted, he's got to go. And everyone blamed Conte.
If he says one thing, there's going to be no blame. If he says one thing and the players, if he says this, what he said, and then he accepts the situation where he has the Dyers, the Sessegnon, and the Davis or whatever, he accept that, then for me, he's made his bed. Whatever outcome, I'll still support him. But if it turns out to be shit because of that acceptance of that situation where he has those players in, then you have to say, look, man, I'm sorry, man. I've seen this film many a times. You've made your bed, you got to lie it, man. So it is what it is.
Jeff Dawson, sorry to hurt your feelings, but I'm going to be doing a live show with Sav as of Wednesday every single week. Sav has asked me, he wants to do a show with me because he wants the truth to be told. So thanks for your wonderful comment, but you're going to look a bit silly every Wednesday, aren't you, going forward? Think before we speak, please. Just don't get caught up in the emotions of Tottenham. Right? These are opinions. My opinion's different to others. That's all it is. But
I mean, one thing he did say though, still,
I don't want to hear different opinions. They just want to.
He did. He did say though that, do you know what? Those players are going to work hard, train hard, and all that stuff, and they better get on that train quickly, because if they don't, then that's it. They're out. But the problem I see is similar to what Iggy was saying.
If Levy lets him, if Levy lets him get rid of them,
yeah, maybe, I don't know. I think just listening to Iggy as well, one of the key points that he made also was we still have to find somewhere to buy these mugs, right?
But
We do have
JP, it's
we have to
JP. It's
offload
not.
them
I don't
somewhere.
think it's not.
Lower the price, you find a buyer, no?
Yeah, but JP, I don't think it's maybe Levy will let them. He's historically blocked the managers from getting their own way on certain players, and that's been the problem from the beginning. And it undermines the whole hierarchy that he puts in place, right? Because ultimately he blocks the decisions, allows players to skip the hierarchy, go straight to his office, etc., etc. So,
and that's why I said the other day he needs to stop. The backing of the manager is not only buying in players, it's also listening to that manager. And if he says, "I don't like him, I don't like him, I don't like him," they need to go out the door. If he has players tapping on his door, he needs to be there saying, "Don't come and tap at my door. Andrew's door's next door or 2 floors down or wherever it is. Go and tap on his door. It's nothing to do with me anymore." That's
why
all
Dyer
inclusive
has
of
to
backing the
go.
manager.
He's head of that player committee that has
That
been
needs to be
toxic.
that needs to be scrapped as well.
And I will say this too for that comment, the last comment that Still had put up in regards to warning us about fans like us. The thing is, fans like us are being honest.
He's just trying to get a reaction. It's like
Yeah,
it's a thoughtless comment. It's bang average.
And I know the person agree with us because even then they're saying they'll talk about the center back situation is revert back to the same old Spurs. Because remember 2-3 weeks ago, people will say Brighton doing the Brighton way. The last 2-3 weeks, we're about to go to Australia. It seems like it's the Levy way, not the Brighton way, right? The thing is, I really do like Big Ange, and I want him to do well.
How can you not like him?
The problem is who he works for. That's the problem. Levy is the board, right? They're supposed to be doing things the Brighton way, right? Center backs was our number one priority. Yes, we got James Madison. That's nice, but that wasn't number one on the list. You have to be honest. Number one on the list was getting center backs. That has been our problem for the last 3 or 4 years. Has been our number one problem, right?
And even if Murray, if this guy is our centre back and he's our number one choice, why don't we just pay the 30-40 million, whatever it is, and get him in the door?
Exactly.
Instead of haggling to get it lower.
Over the weekend, there's this. I don't want to butcher his name. There's a player from. I saw the report. It was a player. I'll get his name. His name is. Yes, I have it right here. The defender from Gladbach. His name is Ko Itakura. Right. They say Tottenham has joined the race with Napoli to get this defender from Gladbach. Option C. Remind you, option C. And when we pull up that deal, watch those who are going to say, "Oh, we're pulling a Brighton because we didn't pay."
Have you seen the YouTube videos? Oh, he's cold. Oh, yeah. Did you see that tackle on YouTube?
Tapsoba. Oh, we got a guy for 15 million who played for Gladbach. His name is, and he may be good. He could tour, but right, like I said in my video, if it was the Brighton way, why was this guy the first option? Why are we talking to Tapsoba for the last 3 weeks?
I don't think we're talking to anyone. I think sometimes, Mari, that there's when you're in for players, you bring one player up and then to draw attention to that player when in fact you actually want this player. You're just not drawing attention to the target that you actually want. There is an element of that going on in football. But for me, I can only start talking about those players once we've got them. I'll also say this. There's nothing about this transfer up until now that's been well. Maddison's a good player. A player that we required in the area that we needed it for sure. But for me, these kind of players, they shouldn't be players that Tottenham should have a problem getting. You know, I always say though, the players, you always want that wow factor. And I mentioned this for a while now. So the last time I said wow to a Spurs signing was Van der Vaart. And I haven't seen a signing like that, where he's coming last minute, and you're thinking, how the hell did we get him to come on board? Those players are becoming less and less. They're starting to become less and less.
We haven't had the marquee signing, have we, for like
Absolutely not.
years?
That's the last time we've had it. So for me, Maddison's a good signing for sure. He will fill in the hole that we've badly needed for a few years. That needed to cover for a few years. The goalkeeper. Listen, he's spoken about here. I'm trying to say, guys, man, what are you doing, man?
Carbonated water.
That is brilliant.
Sorry, Iggy. Who wasn't
No.
Oh,
The comment's
God,
funny. You bring in a goalkeeper that's done well for Empoli last season, but he's not proven in the Premier League. We're going to go get two defenders, hopefully two defenders at least, who have not Premier League proven. So we are essentially going to be. I wouldn't go as far as say it's experimenting, but you're chancing it.
Iggy, you could argue that Dyer and Sanchez aren't Premier League proven. They've done absolutely nothing to prove they can do in the Premier League.
Lee's doing an Ange. He's got the.
I'm waiting to do my Ange. That's what I'm doing. I'm waiting for my time to do my Ange in the next section.
But what I'm saying, listen, if you look at it, I'd rather go to the two unknown than carry on, with this. I get what you're saying, Lee, and I accept that. But I'm just saying, I look at it from a percentages point of view, man. We are in one of the most vulnerable areas that we've been last season, and we want to strengthen that area so we're not so weakly, so defensively, so weakened to do it. And we're going to be doing it with players in a central part of a really important area of players that never played together and never played in the Premier League. That to it already is a big risk. I don't know, man. I know the director of football. Who's getting these players in? Who is it? Is it Levy that's doing the negotiations?
Scott Munn's not even
Scott
started
Munn.
yet.
What's Scott Munn doing, man?
But Scott Munn's not a transfer person, is he?
He's not. So you know that.
Paratici is doing it, isn't he? He's still
What's he doing, man? He's a consultant. What's he doing? Yeah, what is he?
Consulting
what is
to buy.
he doing? What is he doing? Like, honestly, he wasn't doing.
He's cooking.
I don't know, man.
He's cooking.
I don't know. He's not allowed to be involved in the transfer. So exactly,
he's just got his Word document open, isn't he? Sean Shear.
Apparently, they relaxed some of the restrictions on him, so he's
but he resigned. He resigned, didn't he?
I don't know how Topsover, Van der Ven.
They're not
players.
They're not
players.
He's at the club still somehow.
If you said to me, Bremer from Juve,
contractor.
Yeah. What I'm saying, if you said to me Bremer from Juve is a proper thing, then I'm most likely Paratici's got his hand on that. If you go to get a centre back from Atalanta or something like that, I thought, you know what, I could see his hand there. But him being linked with Van der Ven, with us being Van der Ven and Tapsoba, and Paratici's getting wants those players, I don't see his hand there. I just don't. So I'm asked. That's why I ask again: who's dealing with it? Who's dealing with these transfers? I don't know.
Levy's involved somewhere, surely.
Levy got Maddison over the line. Yeah, let's have it right here.
There's no cultural change. The's no cultural change. He's still involved.
Paratici did not get Maddison in. It was Daniel Levy that got James Maddison in. Let's have it right, boys. We've got to call it as it is. Sorry, go on, Lee. Lee, come up, man.
Right. Listen, I just want to quickly say, people hating me in the comments, please hit the like button. Thank you for watching the show. I love the fact you watch the show. Tell your friends, tell your family, spread the word amongst the Spurs community.
Stel, do you know what the funny thing is? For 2 weeks that you was absent, I had nothing. Well, we had nothing.
Everyone was like, "Where's Stel? Where's Stel?"
Oh, it's lovely. People were bringing us chocolates. There was flowers left at my door. Oh, yeah, it was.
Now I know why they wanted you back.
We were getting super chats, everything. Every chat was a super
chat. There was one person kept asking where Stel was. I'm pretty sure it was your alt account, Stel. So, well done for that. But anyway.
It was my account.
Yeah.
My stock account. I'm
going to do my... and this is the
Ange
that's the
way of
angle that
doing
you
an
got,
interview.
but-
So we're doing it like this. So there's a couple of things. First, you two need to get a room. Secondly, whoever put the microphone on the table that says Haters TV on it, that's a stroke of genius. You've got to sit in front of someone with Haters TV on a mic in front of you while he's doing an interview. Great. Thirdly, the most interesting thing that came out of his mouth was when one of the reporters said to him, "Was this always a dream move to come and manage in the Premier League at such a high level?" And his first reaction to that was, "Yeah, but I've coached at the World Cup. How much higher can you get?" And I thought, "Yeah, that's it. You tell her to sit the fuck down." It's almost like he's saying, "No, this is never a dream of mine. 6 months ago or 2 years ago, I was on the other side of the world. It's just another challenge to me. It's not a dream of mine. I've never dreamed of coming to the Premier League." He recognised that the Scottish League wasn't as big as some of the other leagues in the country, but that was interesting, saying, "No, not really a dream of mine. It's just another challenge. I've as far as I'm concerned, I've coached at the World Cup. That's the highest you can get." And I was like, "Oh, okay. We're not that
I think
important."
to-
But no,
to-
it's
He knows how to
respond-
hit back with smart
Yeah.
responses.
Yeah,
doesn't he?
he definitely
He's
got-
smart.
he's
He's
got
not. He's
an
not
outlet.
stupid. He's not stupid.
To respond
Yeah,
to Dunkel's talk, I think he knows what I'm talking about him.
This one.
I
No,
think,
he was
of
talking with the big
course.
Dunkel.
Listen,
I'm not leaving.
yeah, sorry, man, I didn't say your name properly. But look, so let's have it right. Talking to the manager and him saying to you that he wants you, that's a big factor for any player to join the club. There's nothing more better. But Ange Postecoglou did not deal with the actual getting him over there. I think it was always there.
He spoke to him afterwards when he came to sign, didn't he?
His name has been linked with Spurs for a long while, so the club were always interested in him. I don't think Conte wanted him, to be honest with you. I don't think he saw a part for him to be involved, because otherwise he would have come last year, in my opinion. I think this time around, having a conversation with the manager, said, "Yeah, you know what? You can play in my team. I want you here." I think that made the whole thing easier. And let's have it right. The price made things a lot easier because he was worth 60 odd million last year. And this time around, we got him for 30 million because we sent Winks the other way for 10 million. So we paid 30 million.
That's kind of like last year, though, Iggy, right? Last year we got Basuma. Friggin' hell, 25 million. He's cheap. Let's grab him for the price.
Yeah.
Can I say the reason? I think another reason that Conte was put off by Maddison. When you look at Maddison, there is no doubt his goal action stats, assists, goals. The guy's good. He's better than any of the front three we had last season. Take out Kane. He's better than what Saka's been doing at Arsenal. You cannot deny this boy delivers. He can win you games, and he's a really good signing. However, tracking back defensive duties, awful. He'll go missing. And for Conte, nah. And I think this is something Ange is going to have to either coach into him or put players around him that can support Maddison not having to do it. But that is a massive weakness. And when you speak to Leicester fans, and I have, they say the same thing. They go, look, this guy will go missing on the defensive side of the game. And you know what? The best teams, they defend as a team and they attack as a team. So that's the only niggle I've got with Maddison. But going forward, he's actually one of the best in the league. You know that. He's good at
Stell, I'm going to call you out.
Then why we're talking about his defensive duties?
Hold on, gents.
Why we're talking about his defensive duties? Let the others do the work, man. Let him do what he's got to do.
You saying that is absolutely, and I'll stand by what I say. That's absolutely no different than Ndombele. You watch that guy go forward with the ball in his feet and put a pass through. He's an absolute fucking wizard. Absolute wizard. But everything else about his game is awful. That's the problem. So that's no different to what you've just described.
You're absolutely right, which is why for me, I would never play Ndombele high up.
Absolutely, I agree that.
I would never play him high up.
No, come on, Iggy, come at me, bro. I'll call you out.
So let me just add my 2p in.
Back to you, Iggy.
Ericsson.
Yeah.
Ericsson
YouTube,
was similar though,
Go
right?
and watch the YouTube vid, man.
He would run all over the pitch, run the most kilometres out of everyone in the whole game, right? Excellent with the ball going forward, but when he used to put tackles in, he used to pull out of tackles, challenges, people used to run past him, so he wasn't great either.
Who, Ericsson?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a pussycat. Absolute pussycat when it came to defending.
Yeah.
But this is why I
But
say
he
this
was
is what-
left.
this is what-
He was left
this is
alone
what I was
to do his
saying.
mastery up front, isn't he?
He had
was
Moussa
left alone to
Dembele
do
and
that.
Victor Wanyama behind him. I mean, just letting them sort
Yeah.
it
Oh,
out, right?
obviously. Yeah. Yeah.
Clear it up, please.
It's levels.
This-
Yeah.
But this is the problem Conte had. You try and have an attacking type player. Well, one, we never bought one. Two, Højbjerg, Skip.
You see,
I don't think Skip's a holding mid. I mean,
you see,
we still don't have a proper defensive mid at the club. Bissouma's
thing
not a
is-
defensive mid. He's more
and
box
that
to
could
box.
be
holding player.
why Conte was like, I don't want Maddison. I want defenders. Get me defenders first. And he was probably really
For that
really
same money,
strict
go
on
and
that.
get me a defender.
Yeah, he's probably thinking, you know what? I'm either going to build from the back, or I'm not going to. I don't just want any old player. Maybe that's what he thought. Maybe.
No, you will have Danjuma.
If that's true, sell him, get rid of him, Haas. I mean, it only makes me think more positive towards next season if we get rid of players like that. By the way, the Harry Kane thing, I know I watched the show last week, you spoke about it, but now Bayern Munich have put in another bid. And Ange Postecoglou today said in his interview, I've had no assurances about Kane's future. Look, it's obvious the club are going to want him to stay, I think. And it's obvious that Ange is going to speak to him and try and persuade him. But I was watching Danny Murphy and what's his name? Goldstein on TalkSport today. And Danny Murphy was saying that if he's agreed terms with Bayern, he wants out. And when they were talking about it, and then Danny Murphy was asked, do you think Kane will go yes or no? He said, yeah. It's about the two clubs agreeing that price now. I just want to ask you this, right? Because this is going to go on all summer. Because we all know the club are not going to put a deadline on it, and we know the communication is going to be non-existent. I think there's only three options, right? One, you approach a club, and you say to that club, you can have Kane, 60, 70 million, but we want that player from you who wants to leave. For example, Laporte. Laporte wants to leave Man City, or he's on his way out. You can have Kane for 60 million, give us Laporte, which is worth 30 million. It's a 90 million pound deal. Okay, we don't get 100 million, but we've got money plus a centre back we desperately need, assuming Laporte wants to come to Spurs. So there's a lot that needs to make that deal work. So a swap deal, cash plus player Kane. The second option is you say to Harry Kane, here's a contract. We're going to increase your salary. It's a 3-year contract, but we don't want to lock you down for the rest of your life in case you want out, because that's the problem we had in the past. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a release clause, which is realistic, that we haven't priced you out of the market. So let's just call it £60 million. So if someone comes in with £60 million, your release clause is activated as long as you want to go to that club. But the release clause can't be activated for 1 year. So you're going to stay with us for a year, but rather than walking out on a free, there's an affordable release clause that clubs will be prepared to pay. So that might be a bit of a fair deal. Or you say to him, if you're not signing a new deal and we can't come to an agreement, there's no way you're going on a free. You're too expensive. We put you on the transfer market. Do you think that's a fair set of options to present to Harry Kane? Because this can't drag on and on and on. Because for me, I think the worst case is he goes on a free. Because in January, he can sign for any overseas club on a free. At the end of the year, I've got this really, really bad feeling, man. If he goes on a free, he's fucking going Chelsea, man. And that is going to be the most toxic thing to happen to us since Sol Campbell. Where are you guys at with it? Because this isn't going away. It's not going away.
I think that Levy lost his chance when he broke his promise to him 2-3 years ago to put that contract in place. I think if they have,
he's not going to
offered him
trust
something
anything
like that,
anymore.
he's not going to trust anything. So I think he made up his mind effectively probably when Conte came or left. He said, "Yeah, I'm definitely going 100%. I'm not going to sign anything, no matter what they say." But if he signs a contract, then obviously we're wrong, and we're happy to be wrong. But I don't think it's going to happen, mate.
I can't see him signing a contract, to be honest.
What if there's a release clause in there, JP, that an affordable release clause, one that clubs won't say, "Oh, we're not paying 150 million pounds to trigger it." 60 million, yeah, we'll do that. We'll wait a year.
You see, I don't think that.
What does Kane gain out of that?
Yeah, but and that's exactly right.
I think he leaves on an amicable footing where
I
the
don't think
club
he
and Kane have
cares.
He
agreed with.
doesn't
And,
have
He
to
doesn't
do
care.
shit.
but
He
is he not
doesn't have
concerned
to
about
do
the fans?
nothing.
But listen.
Why would he want to make a pact with the devil again?
It's not a pact.
Again.
It's an affordable release clause. It's not a pact.
Would you sign? Would you do that?
If I was Kane, I would have left 2 years ago.
Would you? Okay. Would you
Well, there
sign a
you
deal
go.
like that?
But I'm
Would you? Yeah, but no. But I'm asking you. Would you make a deal with Tottenham? Would you make a deal with Tottenham right now? Now, imagine yourself to be Harry Kane, not STEL. Imagine you being Harry Kane. Would you sign right now?
Okay.
Would you make a deal? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes, I would make a deal. Yes. If I'm going to get paid
you're
more money,
bullshitting. You're chatting shit now.
Don't ask me a question then. All right.
I don't.
Why would you deal? Why would you deal?
Hold on, guys.
You're in a situation where you can get out.
Hold on.
You're in a situation where you can
I
get
don't think
out.
Kane is motivated by money, right? And
No, I'm not saying that either. I'm not saying that.
I know you're not. I never said
I'm just
that.
saying Bayern Munich's at the door.
But Maz, if he's going to stay for a year, right? If he's going to stay for one more year, I might as well get a high salary whilst I'm doing that.
Yes.
Yeah, but if
that's fine.
No, but then he's limiting his options again,
question.
and
If
he's
he
relying
signs
on
for Bayern
clubs
Munich-
coming in for him. Whereas if he's a free agent,
Who's
clubs
not
will
going to
just
pay
queue up.
60 million? Who's not going to pay 60 million for Kane?
But
United
if he
will pay
waits-
it. Chelsea
if he
will
waits-
pay it. City will pay
Still.
it. Bayern, PSG, Real Madrid, they'll all pay that. 60 million for Kane.
Still, if he waits till the January and signs with one of those European clubs, he'll get the 60 million.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Why? He's in a strong position right now. This is what I'm saying. Why would you make that
we
pact
screwed him
when he's in the strongest position right now? He's like, do you know what? I'm ready to go Bayern Munich. This is what I'm hearing. This is how I see it. I'm ready to go as Kane. Yeah, I'm talking as Kane. I'm ready to go to Bayern Munich. I've agreed personal terms if we go by what's been reported. Now it's up to the two clubs to come together and sort it out. I'm ready to go. But if they don't come together, I'm still going to be the professional. I'll stay here another year. In 6 months' time, I will choose my destination. And in 12 months' time, I'll go to wherever I want, where I'll be going.
You can
I'll be
literally
leaving Spurs
choose
no
any
matter what.
club.
He's in the most powerful situation, and you're telling me that this is you know what?
He's going to do Levy a favour.
Knowing what happened 3 years ago, he's going to put pen to paper again.
Okay. So if he goes on a free, wait. So if we get to the 1st September, no contracts being signed, every single Spurs fan knows he's going on a free. Are you telling me Daniel Levy is going to allow the most expensive asset in the squad to go for zero?
How's
No, I'm saying deal with it now. I said
he
it.
Can't do anything with it. Like
Daniel Moneymaker.
I said it.
I've got a couple of
in the morning video.
I've just got a couple of £10 notes.
I said it in the morning video 2 or 3 days ago. I said we should nip it in the bud now. One way or another, make a decision and move on. If we're going to move together for another season or whatever,
but nothing's happened.
I think Levy's playing with fire because if he's gamble now, if his gamble doesn't work and Bayern or whoever doesn't stump up the money he thinks Kane is worth, right, and that window goes, then all he's got to rely on is Ange persuading Kane through good results, good football, whatever, that is worth staying at Spurs.
That's too risky, Naz.
Exactly. So he's literally at last chance saloon now.
And if that rumor is true, if any ounce of it being true, I don't know if you guys heard a possible hijack of Spurs hijacking the Vlahovic deal. Which we don't do hijacks, but if
we ain't got the money,
we don't do that.
We can't buy 2 centre backs. We ain't gonna go some Vlahovic.
I agree with you. But if it was magically true, I would sell Kane in a heartbeat. 2 reasons. Number one, you have your replacement for him, and 2, don't be fooled. Iggy can back you up. The Vlahovic you see now, Juventus is an unhappy Vlahovic. LA destroys careers. He destroys career. Vlahovic will come good like the Florentina Vlahovic if he comes to Spurs. That's if it's true. Because like I said, we don't do hijacks. We don't ever do hijacks.
I disagree with you, Mari. We did get Danjuma.
That is true. We took him from Everton. Yep, that is
Mate,
true.
Dan Juma scored more goals
He
than
wasn't a
Ren
free. He wasn't a free,
Richarlison.
in fairness.
That's all I'm saying.
The most embarrassing hijack in Premier League history, that was.
For Everton.
He scored more goals than the
and he
pigeon
scored,
still.
yeah. And
Put
he
respect
scored
on
more
his
goals
name.
than the 66 million player we bought.
He came to us in 4th. He left us in 8th. Cheers, mate. Appreciate the work. Thank you.
How ironic would it be if Dan Juma ended up going back to Everton this summer transfer window?
Man.
That'd be
Well,
fantastic.
Oh my
I got there
God.
in the end. Just had to make a pit stop at a shithole. But I got there in the end.
What do you honestly think will happen with Kane then? Let's not, well, obviously don't want to go on about it all night, but let's go with JP first. We'll go around. What do you think will happen this summer? What's your feeling?
I think he'll stay. I think he'll go in this next year. I think Levy is trying to pray that somehow we can be magical next year with Ange Fairy Dust. And they can if we win an FA Cup or something like that, can convince him to stay with us for life. And he'll give him the 400 grand, 500 grand, whatever it is a week. But
So
it's
you think he's
literally
going to stay for 1 year under a new contract?
He'll stay right now, because I read something earlier about
JP. He can't get a pay rise then, because that means a new contract.
Levy wanting 100. No, next year. So Levy wanting 120 million pound for him now, and Bayern Munich are going, we ain't going nowhere near that. We'll sign him in Jan for free, right? I think Levy is going to let that contract run out, hope and pray that we win an FA Cup or something next year, and then try and tie Kane up by going, look, the future's bright. We've got a piece of silverware. Here's 400 grand a week. Be a legend forever. This is my view.
So he's going to go on a free, and Levy's going to end up in the mud trying to give him a new contract that he rejects. Okay. That is the worst outcome as well, which is possible though, 100% possible. Iggy, how do you see it playing out?
The hardest thing for me is predicting what Daniel Levy is going to do in all of this. It's a hard one. I think Kane is gone.
Going to announce a new shopping mall we're building in Haringey. I
just think
16 new events.
It's very clear. It's very clear that in Kane's mind, he's ready to go. But listen, I don't doubt he's professional, and I think if he does stay, he will do a job for us, absolutely. And then you have to look at the whole, and the captain for next year, a guy that wants to leave, he's going to be captain our team next season. That's another question mark. But for me, he wants to go. I think, in my opinion, if he doesn't want to sign a new deal, get the most money you can for him, and part ways. I agree. I wouldn't just get him to stay for another season to then lose him on a free. I just think that's just stupid. It just doesn't make any kind of sense to not cash in on a player that wants to leave and won't sign a new deal. So, and it's our fault as a club for being in this situation. Let's have it right, guys. It's no one's fault but us for being in this situation. And I put myself in Kane's mind. I'd be feeling the same way, because if you could all leave Tottenham right now, you'd all leave. We hate Tottenham half of the time, and we support them. So why would we have this expectation that he should stay? So in my mind, I think we should deal, cash in, and move on, and it allows us all the summer.
What do you think will happen? What do you think we'll do?
It's like I said when I started this conversation. It's hard to know what Daniel Levy's going to do, man. What I think would happen. Kane's not going to insist on saying I want out of all costs, because Levy might mug him off and say, fuck
even
now,
Iggy, after even now, Iggy,
no,
after
but I'm
he
saying
screwed him last time.
If Kane throws his toys out of the pram and really goes all out, which I doubt he'll do, but if he does that, then Daniel Levy might make a point, say, "Oh, I'm going to embarrass you now for your own fans and keep you for the next season," and he's going to have to face that. So I don't think he's going to be stupid enough to behave like that. I think he'll go, if there's a possibility. It's like he would say to Daniel, "Daniel, it's up to you. You know my situation. I want to leave. If you want to keep me, I'll stay and leave free, and I'll do it. What do I think is going to happen, guys? I think Daniel, it'll be reluctant. I think he'll be reluctant, but deal. I think he'll deal. I agree with Stel. I don't think.
Would take 60 million or something.
I think I think as much as I think he's going to do whatever he can to try and get him to stay, I think Daniel Levy loves money more, and there's absolutely no way he's going to lose 100 million euros, 80, 90 million euros.
Yep. Tottenham are in advanced talks with Van de Ven. Says Fab.
But he's been stringing that story for about a week
Advanced
now.
talks, speaking with,
Look at the key words. Look at the key words that he uses. Ongoing words.
Advancing.
Advancing. If I get up from here to go to the kitchen, I'm advancing as well. Look at it that way. So, guys, I think.
What do you think's going to happen?
He'll deal.
What's going to happen, Iggy?
No, I said it. I think in the end he'll be reluctantly have to deal because Daniel Levy, amongst everything else, loves money.
So you think he's selling Kane this summer?
Yeah, I think he reluctantly will have to deal.
Okay.
Because I don't think Kane's going to sign a new deal.
Still, before you go into the next person,
Yeah. Just quick super chat from Della Spurs. Big up Della Spurs. I love it. Do you know that's one of the best names? Della Spurs. Reminds me of Della Soul.
Della Soul. Yeah, you know that. What a band they were, man. I've still got one of their vinyls.
Is the magic number?
One of their vinyls, Della Soul.
I've got the vinyl there.
For the old guys that remember Della Soul. Do you know what? I went to a party the other night. We got me talking about music. Went to a party the other night. The DJ couldn't have been more than 20 years old. It was my nephew's 18th, and one of his mates, who was about the same sort of age, was DJing the night, and Sophie went up to the DJ, said, "Oh, do you know what? Can you play a bit of UK goes? Play like DJ Luck or something like DJ Luck or MC Neat." And the guy turned around to her and goes, "Who?
Who?
You're old. You're old." Yeah. When the kid comes up to go, "Who?"
Sack the DJ.
That's like saying Luther Vandross or Elvis. You could like what? Huh? Who? 60s, 70s. Anyway, Della Spurs says, "I've said it before. I don't believe Kane rates the Postecoglou project or the signings. He wants to leave, and he won't mind burning Levy." I agree with the burning bridges bit for sure. Rating the project, I think he's just fed up of projects we've had. How many projects have we had under Kane? 4 or 5?
Do you think
Project Watch, Project Jose, Project Conte? Is Mason a project? No. It's the fourth one now. Do you think
Kane's after Jose, when he's you got to look at it thinking, I didn't win a trophy with Jose and I didn't win a trophy with Conte. I think that was all his last two managers. And you don't forget, Conte was the reason why he stayed. He thought that was Conte persuaded him to stay for another season. And once that failed, I think he's done.
Do you know what, Iggy? If he also looks at it and goes, he could have gone to Man City, right? Could have had a treble by now.
Yeah. And he probably would have caught Shearer's record as well. So people saying, yeah, but he's got a Premier League record to go and get. Mate, he can play till 40. Kane is fit enough.
He can go away, play in a different league, come back
for a couple of seasons and come back.
Yeah. Lee, what about you? What do you think is going to happen this summer?
Fuck those. I don't think the situation is as aggressive between the two as people make it out to be. I think the conversation will probably go, look, if you really want to go, I will let you go, but the price has got to be right. I'm not letting you go for 68 million. Not when you've got the likes of Rice who ain't giving you 31 goals a season going for 100.
What happens if the right price don't come in, Lee? Then what?
Then I think then he will see. But I think Levy's got this warped sense of thinking, in the sense that if Kane goes on a free, it sounds strange to everyone, but Kane cost us nothing, and he has given us a lot of revenue through these last 10 years with his merchandise and all this kind of stuff, right? So Levy's probably thinking, right, he's given me all of this, and it's a warped way of thinking. And that's why you'd be happy to let him go on a free, rather than someone that costs you 80 million, and then you know,
but Lee, hold on.
someone.
Lee,
it's not my opinion.
He's a money grabbing bastard. He ain't gonna
He is
let
a money.
go,
He
man.
is a money
Is
grabbing.
Levy going to see it that way?
Who knows, mate? Who knows?
Because
Otherwise,
Harry
what
Kane
other?
is on the balance sheet of Spurs as an asset.
He is, but what other
That's 100 million.
madness world do you let him go for free? I'm just trying to make sense of why he would let him go for free, unless he thinks he's given us enough revenue, we allow him to do that. If this is the big if by him staying next season gets us back into a Champions League position that then gives me more money, and I'll happy to let him go. Whereas I don't know. I'm trying to work it out, mate. I'm trying to work out the logic, but I can't.
Madison should lay goals on for him as well, though, shouldn't he?
Yeah, I can't work out his logic. If it was me, and I think I'm in the same camp as everyone else, I don't think necessarily 68 million does it for me. I think he's worth more than that. I think maybe between 80 and 90 million, I'd bite their hands off and I'd say, yeah, Harry, if you want to go. We'll take the money. Happy days. Everyone's happy. Great.
Is 70, 80 million euros really that bad for a player that's running down his contract? Is in the last it's in the last 12 months.
I mean, the price of players at the moment is madness, right?
If Declan Rice is 105 million, then he's worth at least 150 minimum. But you can't hold out for that price if he's on.
No, it's never coming. That price isn't coming. There's only a few clubs that could afford that price, and that's the issue.
So the clubs, they'll hold their nerve. Bayern Munich will hold their nerve.
Yeah. They'll just say,
they're never
we'll
paying
leave
that
it to
kind
the
of
last
money.
minute. We're not going to give it to
money.
you straight away.
Nah, man.
We'll let you come begging. No, he's screwing people. He's screwing the fans for 2 million quid. He's going to let go of 70 million.
I mean, I think the next week is going to be telling because obviously
he's just shafted us for 2 million, and he's going to let 100 million walk out the front door. No way. That's such a good point.
The logic makes no sense. Honestly, I'm trying to wrap my brains around it, and I can't work it out what the plan is. I think the next week would be telling. He's back. Wednesday?
We signed Madison, an assist man, someone who statistically sets up a lot of goals, and the one guy that will benefit more than anyone else might be fucking off.
What do you mean, Richarlison? Brazil's number one, right?
Madison's probably
he's out of position, though. He's out of position. Although, to be fair, I know we're saying, you're bringing in Madison and, we've got someone to put those balls through who can do that. We already had that in I forget what his name is now. Starts with an N, ends with an LA. Oh, anyway, but he's a baller. But no, you're absolutely right. You get someone in there. Got him. Anyway,
he couldn't even play for Napoli. He couldn't even play for them.
Hey, you're right.
He's got a winner's medal.
Have you seen that clip when the manager come on the pitch and say to him, "What were you doing over there?"
His YouTube clips look fantastic.
No. But I'm saying, have you seen that clip where the managers come on the pitch at the end of the game?
He lifted it up like that. Hey, Serie A.
Yeah, well done for the cameo appearances. The one game at San Siro, the manager came onto the pitch at the end of the game and walked over to him and said, "What was you? I told you to be here. What was you doing over there?"
Got him. He's in full. I only dangled a maggot. He's full in the on the line.
Listen, that Morecambe told me a lot about that.
We got him, people.
I know, mate. I completely agree. That was underneath him, wasn't it? That was why am I playing this fucking second-rate team? Why am I even a team? This is above me. I want to be playing fucking United. I know what you mean. But anyway, I don't know which way it's going to go. I don't think if it was me, I'd ask for that little bit more and let him go and just deal with that situation. But I just hope if Levy fucks around and he does end up staying, that I'm agreeing with Viggy. I don't think he will. Knowing that he's going on a free, he's got a vision out of the club, right? So I don't think he'll necessarily down tools. He say, right, I put up for another 12 months. I'm out of here. Start talking to people. Job done, etc., etc. But just to end on that, just on the point of Kane, big up to Skippy and Sessegnon that have now won more trophies than Kane has. Well done.
Was Sessegnon in the under-21s as well?
Yep. Yep.
Unbelievable.
He didn't get a medal, did he?
He was on the pitch when I watched it the other night. He was on the pitch, so I'm guessing he got played minutes.
Can I just say, right, I made a video on this a few months ago. Who is the FA Chief Technical Director for all the youth?
Would that be
Ramsey?
John McDermott, the ex-academy head that we let go to the FA. He's gone there and he's turned it all around. Their youth are flying, and I'm telling you,
There was a couple of good guys in midfield, I tell you, weren't there?
I'll tell you what, that whole thing came out of absolutely nowhere. It's all of a sudden, it's like, oh, he's an under-21s tournament. England in the final. I'm like, what? This just did not get enough publicity whatsoever.
I tell you,
Didn't concede a goal.
Going through the whole tournament without conceding a goal.
Listen, the FA are listening to the people they've got running the youth. They're listening to the coaches and the technical directors they've appointed. They're doing what they say. At Spurs, there's still that disconnect, and I keep talking about it. So the England national setup is very promising going forward, big time. It's been like that for a while now. Ever since they built St George's Park, they got their act together. So, but it's just Tottenham. That's what about our academy and
Yeah, but we had Dele and Kane and
Kane's the only one really that's come out of the academy. Ledley King and Kane are the only ones in 20 or 30 years that have come out and been amazing so far. But super chat from being Abhishek. Any thoughts on Richarlison's comments on Conte? If Richarlison bangs next season, that would make Conte's man management look bad. Big season for Rich also. Big if, and Richarlison was never going to play ahead of Harry Kane and Conte was never going to drop Harry Kane. So it's a difficult one to question Conte's man management. But what do you guys think about that? In fact, I'll come back to this because I want to get Mari's opinion and Maz's opinion on Kane. We'll come back to it. Actually. Do you want to do it now? Then we'll go to Mari and Maz.
No. Kane's conversation, and then
we can close the Kane chapter.
Mari, Kane, what do you think is going to happen? I'll come back to this. I'll come back to this.
I think Daniel Levy is going to just be real stubborn. He's going to keep Kane for the season, and he's going to try to because what matters to Levy is Europe. That's what matters to him, and he knows the best chance of having Europe is with Kane. And I think what's going to happen in my prediction is that we'll probably fall short of Europe, meaning the Champions League, and Kane leaves on a free. But I think he goes to United. I don't think he goes to Chelsea. I think he goes to United next season. And we lose him on a free. And it's going to get, like you said, real toxic. I think we lose him on a free.
But guys, would you not prefer him to go to Bayern Munich? Then in 12 months' time, he could choose any London club or any club in England to go and join.
I would definitely prefer to go to Bayern, PSG. Apparently, Scudetto had it.
At the moment, we have that control where we can say deal with Bayern Munich. Go to Bayern Munich.
Go and ask for some money.
Next season, he can really join any team he wants. He can go to any, like Stell mentioned earlier, it could be Chelsea, it could be Man United, it could be any team in England. It could even fucking be Arsenal. It can even be Arsenal.
No way would he do that. No chance.
No.
Really? Really?
That's war.
What?
That's war.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
Can we really rule that out?
Chelsea.
No.
Really?
It's possible. It's possible, but Arsenal is like war, though, isn't it? It's just a declaration of war.
Deal with Bayern Munich now. Deal with it. You have to listen. I want Kane to stay, guys. Let's have it right here.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But you're in a situation right now where you can still have the final say on this. Deal with Bayern. He goes over there, and then what happens after that? Where he goes after that is another situation. But right now, then seeing him go for free as well to a club in England, and he goes on to do whatever he wants to do. So I don't know, guys. I just think when you weigh it all up, it just makes sense to deal with it. That's why I say nip it in the bud now, so we've got the rest of the summer to go invest in the market and bring in the players that we want, rather than wait till the 31st of August and then be forced to having to deal with the situation and not be in a situation to get someone else dealing with it.
Berbatov.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to repeat.
And it ended up with frigging Fraser Campbell on the last day.
You can't, because then everyone knows you need a striker and they'll put whatever price they want on the player. Just deal
they're
with
fair
it.
enough to go, no, we've got no time now to sign a player, so no.
A problem presents itself. Listen, we are where we are. This is the situation right now. Nip it in the bud. I'm not saying do absolutely everything you can to do whatever, to keep him at the club. But at the right conditions, not just for the sake of doing it, and then find yourself in an even worse situation next summer where the guy can go in anywhere he wants in the Premier League. Absolutely not. Sell to buy and get your money, 70, 80 million, whatever it is, and then use that money to go and invest in the areas that you need it. And if Richie,
Maz,
we'll
what about
go on
you?
to talking about Richie, but then I'll talk about Richie in a sec as well. Go on, Maz.
Yeah,
I
no, we'll come
think
back to that super chat.
Yeah,
for sure.
so I think that Levy's playing a very dangerous game in negotiating. I think he's hoping that he will get Bayern to pay more money, and I think that will be the case. His gamble may pay off, and they may stump up another, 10, 20 million or whatever they need to. I think the fact that they've made 2 firm offers means that they don't want to obviously just leave without a fight in that sense. Kane in his head is going to go 100%. I think he's gone. I personally don't really want to see him now in a Spurs shirt for next season, purely because I would rather just see an end to the saga. I don't want next season to go in. Kane's there. Whether he plays well or not, all
It's
the
going to
talk
be
is gonna
there,
be,
isn't it? It's going to always be
it's
there.
constantly be there. I think as a club now, as a fan, but we just need to sort of move on now, accept that Kane is going, wish him well, and hopefully he comes back to us in 2-3 years time and continues what where he left off, and we'll be in a better place then. But that's my thoughts on it.
But that 80 million would smash that German record or something I read the other day.
And it's deserving so, right? He's the greatest, he will be. He's England's all-time top goal scorer. He's our all-time top goal scorer. If he stays in the Premier League, he will be the all-time Premier League top goal scorer without a doubt. So he deserves to break records in that respect.
I just mean that they won't. They're not a league that normally spends big, massive money. Or Bayern Munich don't really go out and smash.
It's like them having the opportunity to sign Messi. I mean, who wouldn't want to sign him? Maybe now he's a bit old, right? But when he was leaving Barcelona,
I guess it's that, or wait 6 months and get him on a free,
Yeah, exactly.
Because you could honestly just say to Kane, look, we're still going to get you, and we'll give you £30 million in cash.
Yeah, I mean, let's get it right. Whoever Kane goes to, whatever team, right, he will make them a much better team.
Guaranteed goals,
whether it's Man City, United, Chelsea, Bayern, Real Madrid, you name it. Any team he goes into, he will make them a better team because he's the best striker in the world, probably.
And do you know what? G-Chain makes a really valid point. I'm just reading his comment now, and I remember it very well.
Boy Girish from uni. Big up, G.
I remember this very well when Van Persie left on a free to go United, and he brought those goals that he
won
scored.
the league,
I think he scored like the most goals he ever
I
scored.
felt like that when Sol Campbell won the double at Arsenal, man.
Yeah.
This could be worse though. With Kane going there, I think it would be a lot worse. For me, it'd be worse than Campbell.
Nah, Campbell to Arsenal was horrendous. That was
but if Kane went to Arsenal, that would be even worse.
Kane won't go to Arsenal. Chelsea maybe.
Yeah, but I would put Kane
Arsenal.
going to Chelsea with Poch being there even.
That would hurt because it would hurt, but I wouldn't put it at the same level because we chose not to bring back Poch. We chose to sack him as well. So
but that just makes it worse, though. Still, I think that makes it even worse.
But that's that. With Sol Campbell, it felt like you traitor. But with Harry Kane, if that was to happen, it wouldn't be you traitor. It'd be like, this is our doing. We've bloody done this.
It would be. He would be.
Why? He's on a
without that.
On a free.
Yeah, but he's still going to our main rival. He's
building a house there, man. He's building a house not far away from the...
I don't want to hear it. No, I don't want to hear him going there. I'm going to get pissed off.
Right, let's talk about Richarlison
there, man.
I'll be with you, Maz.
Deal with it now. I'll repeat what I've said all the while. Deal with it now that you're in a situation where you can control his next move than it being out of your hands. Then all these scenarios will all come to surface. That's what I'm saying. Anyway, Richie.
Take the 60 million.
The pigeon.
Richarlison.
Your favourite player.
First, I'll keep it short and sweet. I don't rate him. I hope we sell him. I don't think he's the future of Spurs, and I do not for 1 second think this guy is going to achieve anything close to 20 goals a season in the league for Tottenham. So
He should
that's
be
me.
given a chance, though. He should be given a chance.
Next.
That's me done. Whoever was
I agree,
I would-
Stel. If Kane goes, I don't think he's the number one spot to take his place. I think you play Sonny up front if you're not going to get someone else in time for this season. I think Sonny's ahead of him as taking Kane's spot.
Why have him
if I'm
there?
honest.
Why have him there?
Ask Levy, innit? Be a nice contact.
Why have him there?
He could
Why have
play
him?
across the
Listen,
top
to
three.
answer the
He could play
question,
any position.
Because no one's going to pay £65 million
To
what we
put
paid for him.
some context
Oh,
to
wow.
this,
It's another
these
Ndombele.
comments from
That's a
Richarlison.
tax. That's your tax write-off right there. Still.
Yeah, for Richarlison,
Another tax write-off. Another one.
these comments were made after we just went out of the Champions League last season, and he made that comment about not playing enough and blah 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 straight after the elimination. So it was a post-match. I can't remember who he spoke to, but it was after the Champions League exit, and this was said. And Conte apparently had him in the training room at Hotspur Way in front of everyone, and he blasted him for two hours straight, which I could see him doing. He absolutely rinsed him for 2 hours, rinsed him, and
Your mum,
and
your dad,
yeah,
your kids,
Richarlison
your grand,
just took it
your uncle,
because
your
he
body.
And he's
Conte
never been the
wanted-
same again.
He wanted to let all the players know that can't happen.
You're just a
Obviously.
shit Argentina. Look at you.
But to be honest with you, when you look at Richarlison's argument, why would you come up with those post-match comments when you've just bagged 2 Premier League goals? And at that point, he hadn't scored a league goal either. He only scored at the end of the season. So,
Alisson scored 2
it was not much of an argument for him to have. 2 goals against Marseille and the Premier League goal. 1.
Oh,
against
2 in the Champions League. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, and the Liverpool game, which came after the Milan game.
The lucky flick off his
No, lucky or not, but that's
shoulder or
the
whatever it
goal.
was.
So
He scored.
his argument, him to come out with those words with that as a defense with 2 Champions League goals with no Premier League goals, I think it's a really shitty argument to put yourself forward when you haven't done anything and your performances have been lackluster and you're diving all over the place and blah 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 blah. Now he's in a different scenario now. He's obviously, from his point of view, he's probably wishing Kane leaves because that would open up a little bit more room for him. But I say again, if even with Kane gone, if he doesn't get his opportunities to play as a centre forward for Spurs moving forward next season, that £60 million was down the toilet. If we're not going to give him his chance, even with Son, like Lee just said, put Son up front. I think why have him there? What's the point of having this guy there if you're going to bring a winger? If you're going to bring a winger to go and play up front.
For me, he's in the same bucket as Dyer and Sanchez. I don't think he should be at this club. I really don't.
I rate Janssen and Soldado higher than him. Miles higher than him.
This is what I'm saying. Decisions need to be made. Like what my man's saying. What was the comment? Sorry, the super chat. He was saying that he should be given a chance. And if
he was saying
if Richie Banks that will make Conte's man management look bad. But that's it doesn't make his man management look bad because what Conte said to him was justified, given that he came out with those comments without no real argument in his case. It weren't like he was playing. He wasn't playing, scoring regularly and thinking, you know what, I'm doing the maximum that I can in the limited time that I'm playing. I'm scoring goals and I'm still not getting played. Then that's an argument.
Rams.
That's an argument. But when you're injured, not scoring and playing really shit, and you go at the manager for not giving opportunities when you're performing the way you are, not really much of an argument. What he needs to do is perform next season, get regular time. Hopefully, if Kane goes, he will get that time because I don't see us parking at 60 million investment to the side. I don't see it like that. So I think he will get his opportunities. And he needs to answer to that. He needs to respond on the pitch, and he needs to respond to the faith that the manager will eventually put on him. Because there's no way, man, we're going to put that 60 million budget, that fee to one side and lose money on him. Either believe in him, play him, and hopefully he responds, or you get him out of the club and get somebody that will get the goals. But again, I'll go back to saying it. We've got a hole at the back that needs sorting out. And if Kane goes, man, you need to make sure you go. So could not concede and score.
A hole in the front.
Do you know what I mean? At the moment, we're like we're still conceding because the same players are there. Without Kane, other goals coming. Yeah, I'm telling you, man, that's big. Some big calls need to be made this summer, man.
Can I just want to change the subject. So there's only two more things I want to talk about. The last thing's really quick, but there's something I do want to talk about, and I was saying this to other Spurs fans. Everyone giving it the large that Levy's got it right now. The culture has changed, and Postecoglou's going to change everything. That's why he's got a 4-year contract and whatnot. I just wanted to ask you this, right? We chose not to bring back Poch, and Poch was waiting for the phone call, and then there was a one of those evenings where you get to meet ex-Spurs players, and Ozzy Ardiles, ex-Spurs legend, was asked, what happened with Poch, and he said Poch never got the phone call. So I want to ask you this: last season, and everyone in the chat, tell me what you think. Last season, Chelsea were awful, and everyone slagged off their transfer business and their management appointments. They finished 12th. They've got no Europe next season. Spurs had one of the worst seasons they've had in ages. People blame the managers. We don't have any Europe next season. Chelsea aren't owned by an oil state. They're not owned by, oil money or nation state. Tottenham aren't owned by nation state or oil money. Both have appointed new managers that play progressive front foot football to change the culture. So the way I look at Chelsea and Tottenham now, there can be no excuses. If Chelsea's chairman decides to spend 400 million, that's his choice. If our chairman chooses not to, that's his choice. But don't blame oil money and nation state money. They've got no Europe. We've got no Europe. They've got a new manager. We've got a new manager. They're not oil money. We're not oil money. So is it not a case next season? It's a battle to see whether their manager and chairman is better than our manager and chairman. Is it not on a fair, equal ground next season? So if Poch finishes above us, because they're going for a rebuild, they've got a transition, they've got problems to sort out. Is it a case of, do you know what? He's a better manager and he's got better backing. But if we finish above them, actually, and you're better than Poch. And our chairman got it right. Where are we at with this? Because they're both very equal and there's no excuses left anymore for fans to hide behind.
But there is similarities, right? But then the investment in the squads are on two different levels completely.
But that's not oil money now, because when people say, "Oh, but they've got oil money," well, they've got to follow the same FFP rules as us. So if they can find a way, we can find a way. No,
exactly. And I'm glad you bring this up because I've been talking about this for years on the YouTube channels. That between the difference between Tottenham and Liverpool and Chelsea, especially Chelsea right now. Whereas people are like, oh, Todd Bowley, he has money. First of all, it's not oil money, right? Todd Bowley has got his money through investments, real estate, or whatsoever. In comparison to Joe Louis, right? People tend to forget Uncle Joe, right? And I go back to Tavistock because that's the mothership. Tavistock is a well-oiled machine. Tavistock is huge. The difference is the influx of cash, right? And you got to read through the FFP, right? Your cash that you want to put an influx into your team, right? Todd Bowley cough up the money to put into Chelsea rather than Joe Louis. It's like no. The club pays for itself, right? Daniel Levy, you're gonna have the club pay for itself with fidelity, right? I put that in quotations, with fidelity. Whereas with Chelsea and some other clubs, oh yeah, we'll inject money into the club, and so that's the big difference that we have because, right? You're right. Chelsea's not oil money. They're not oil money, and we're not broke. We're not poor, right? We're real estate money done well. And like I said, I will fly to Orlando, Florida, to the headquarters of Tavistock, and show them how banking and where they're going in the future in regards to the state of Florida. And I'm only talking about the state of Florida.
Yeah, but Mari,
Why? Sorry, just very quickly. Why is it not fair? Because you and many Arsenal fans say to me, "Oh, but Spurs have spent £500 million the last 3-4 years."
No, I don't think it's about being fair or not. Still, I think
Yeah,
what
but
he
it's the
means
level
is
of
that
players, isn't it?
yeah, it's
Yeah, but,
a
yeah, but, yeah,
level.
but, yeah, but I get told, get off Levy's back, stop giving him grief. He invests in the squad. So how can you then say this? At the same time, if the chairman who isn't oil money, who isn't nation state, if the chairman chooses to invest from his pocket into the team, then our chairman choosing not to do so, why can't we point the finger and say, hold on, you're both on an equal footing? Because all I heard was, oh, but Abramovich is oil money. Oh, but
No, but
Man
that's not the
City,
same
Man City,
argument. Yeah, but still, that's not even the same argument, mate. You said at the start of the question,
Yeah.
all things being equal, which manager would be better if one finished above each other?
No, I never
because
said all
of-
things being equal. I said that both teams don't have Europe, so they've
Yeah.
got less games to play. Both
Right.
teams have got a new progressive manager. We could have brought in Poch, but we chose
Right.
And both teams had a bad season. We
That's
finished
the only
above
two
them.
similarities.
Right.
Yeah,
all
but
things being
but,
equal, it's the same.
yeah,
You
but
just
they
drawn
spent
three
£600 million.
parallels there.
But everyone says, but the
but-
money they spent was wasted on shit,
And-
on crap.
Yeah, my point is that
Yeah.
we bought a completely different caliber of player with our 500 million, and they bought a completely different caliber of player. So
We
we're
finished
still
eighth
starting from.
with Ryan Mason.
Yeah, but we did.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
but-
we didn't spend 500
that's-
million last season.
No.
Okay, but my point is they spent 500 million, but how can they be that good? They finished 12th. So what's the reason for that?
But you've
Yeah, but
one
we
bad
didn't-
season.
We didn't spend 500 million
We
last
had one
season,
bad
did
season. Huh?
You can't call. We had
No.
It's
Brighton spent less than all of us. They came sixth. So this argument,
Yeah,
but they spent 600 million, because when I talk about spending money, I get told by Spurs fans it's not about money; it's how you spend it. Well, they spent 600 million, came 12th. So surely they spent it badly, no?
No, but we've spent the volume of money over a long period of time. They spent that volume of money over a short period of time.
Yeah, but
with a
Maz,
lot
we
of
finished
odd
above
players.
them though. So that money was misspent
Yeah,
then.
but that's a red herring. You don't judge it on one season, do you? You judge it over a period.
Our
of
managers
4
get
seasons.
our managers and our rivals
Yeah,
judge
but that's
our judges on one
that's what
season.
we've been talking on the channel for the last 3 years, haven't we?
So that comment doesn't add up to me then.
No,
Yeah, well, go
No,
and
I
tell the
think what
person who gave you
G-Chain
that
is
comment
saying-
it doesn't add up.
yeah, yeah.
Well, I have. I've told them all. I've told them all. I tell them every day on WhatsApp.
No, but I think what G-Chain is trying to say, and he can correct me if I've got it completely wrong, right, is that because they've spent it all basically all at once midway through the season, effectively, it's a completely different starting point.
But they're
'Cause
12.
we didn't.
What did that do for them? I don't get it.
But that's just one season and one league
but-
position. That's not a. That's,
But fans
everyone
say
can
if
have-
we need more attacking football, and the rivals all said to us, Conte, bin him, get rid of that guy. He's the problem. If you just put an attacking manager, the same players can finish higher. So that argument is cancelled, no?
But
This is
my
what
argument to
I'm
you still
just
would
trying
be
to debate the point because
No, no,
I
no,
think
I'm not
Spurs
sure.
are-
I'm not sure what the actual point is. If I'm honest with you, I'm a bit confused of what. the point
Okay, Maz, what I'm trying to
My-
say is next season, in my view, Spurs are not. We're on an equal footing with Chelsea based on where we finished, where the clubs are at, the new chairman, the new managers. Okay, so therefore it's their chairman and their manager versus our chairman and our manager.
Ambition
If they finish
versus no
above us-
ambition.
Right now, but the argument isn't now about oil money and nation state. If their chairman chooses to pump more in, then it's not. Then the argument isn't about they spent more. No, they've got a more ambitious chairman, like Iggy said. Their chairman cares more about winning than ours. No,
Of course it is.
Well, yeah, but we know that still.
Yeah, but
but that's what. Yeah, but that's what I'm
but
arguing
if you
against
start,
G-Chain.
if you're looking at starting it,
He's saying it's not fair. Chelsea
if
spent
you're
more.
looking at
It's not
starting
fair.
it on
They've got a more
on the
ambitious
same
chairman.
level,
Yeah.
if you're looking at starting it on the same level, though, still the players that they've got now, or the players that they bought last year, even, are probably way above our level of players, right?
Not their strikers. Our strikers are far superior. They couldn't score a goal for shit last season. We didn't have any problem scoring. We're the fifth
Yeah.
highest scorers in the league.
Yeah, defenders.
So
if
are
Kane
far
goes-
superior.
So
And,
I think.
and I know it's,
Yeah.
I mean,
The difference is here. how they do business, getting rid of players and bringing players in. You've seen the amount of players from their last 11, from their first 11 last season or the season before. They must have changed. They must have made about 8 changes. Like the whole defense, apart from Thiago Silva's gone. The goalkeeper went. Midfielders revolution. The players. Look at Harvard's who's gone to Arsenal, 65 million. They get rid and they bring in players. Pochettino's going to be under pressure more so than but that just comes with a job. The difference is for me that Chelsea had a blip last season and it's just one season. It might have it in 2 seasons next season because they want to start putting things in place. But it's just a phase, a period, and it will pass. They would just go back to competing to where they was. With us, our period has been 23 years. It's been continuous.
Spurs had 3 managers. Spurs had 3 managers. Two of them were amateurs, never managed before.
So
club-
what? That's the difference. We know Chelsea that they've had this dip, but they'll come back up. With us,
but
don't
Iggy,
know, man.
this argument that it's not fair that Chelsea and Spurs aren't equal starting next season because they've spent more. No, that's not about
they run
our
their house
inability.
to
We can spend that. If our chairman, like Mari said, our chairman is a multi-billionaire. The Tavistock Group is beyond wealth. If he wants to say, right, I'm going to take some of that money and feed Tottenham, he can do it because their chairman chooses to do it and it's within the FFP rules, right? We're both on an equal footing. When you've got like Newcastle, Saudi Arabian, like they own a whole country of oil, very few billionaires can compete with that. I get it. There's an argument. But right now, without Abramovich and the state they're in, are we not on an equal footing with Chelsea now?
No, because it's a multivariate point. Still, they've got
what's unequal
structure.
Maz, what's unequal?
They've got structure. They've got a plan. They've got proper recruitment.
Cultural change. Scott Munn, new manager.
But we've just started the journey.
That's a load of bollocks, don't you?
Yeah.
But theirs is bollocks. Look at them last season. What the fuck was that?
The guys come in.
I won't even bring Chelsea. You know what club makes us look bad?
Why can't we admit Chelsea are equal to Tottenham?
Now? Well, so you know what club makes us look bad? And they took a hit
Villa, Brighton
during COVID. During COVID, is John Henry, and the Fenway Group, with Liverpool, because John Henry had to make some sacrifices with some of the other clubs that he's owned in different sports, sell some superstars, because during COVID they took a hit. And to see, right, and they have every excuse to be frugal, right? Very frugal with their funds and what they have. And they were able to buy McAllister, and I cannot pronounce that kid's name, but he's a baller. Starts with S. Dominic. They signed from
Sabitzer.
No, not Sabitzer.
United.
No.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I know it's about. He's a very good attacking player.
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about.
Spend that money, and I'm thinking like, man, where does Liverpool have like because you expect them to be frugal, and then they're going after Lavia, like that's a club that has a vision and has a plan. And trust me, they're not an oil club. They're not oil club. And John Henry took a hit during COVID. Took a hit big time during COVID. So that's a club that puts us to shame. It's more Liverpool.
Yeah, but you can compare nearly most clubs in the Premier League, apart from obviously the clubs that are way down the league than us.
Yeah, like Crystal Palace and
right, and they're all clearer as to who they are, what they want to be, what they want to do with their players, and than us. We're hamstrung by Levy and Enoch because of how poorly they run the club. That's why I'm struggling with the debate.
Their chairman chooses to spend more. Their chairman chooses to spend more. But it's not about oil money. Their chairman chooses to spend more than oil money clubs. The owners of Tottenham, Joe Lewis, can spend the money. He chooses not to.
We do not operate like a normal let me rephrase that. We do not operate like an ambitious football club with a plan. We just lurch from
We don't have a
crisis to
plan.
crisis to
We never have a
crisis. Yeah,
plan. We never
and
have a
that's
plan.
why I don't think we're as an equal footing to Chelsea, even with all the
But that's
parallels
the
you
owner's
mentioned.
choice.
Because
Steve. It's the owner's choice to spend that money. You're not listening to what I'm saying. Sorry, man. It keeps coming up on the screen. Go on. Maz, go on. I won't interrupt.
no,
Right,
don't worry.
I'm not
No,
going to
I
put
won't
any comments
interrupt.
up. Go on,
Let Maz
Maz.
finish. Let Maz finish.
No, I'm just saying I find it hard to accept the parallels you're drawing because we're so disjointed and we're in constant crisis after crisis, right? That I can't draw the parallels because we're not really starting from an equal footing. Because
Why not?
tomorrow we'll be on a different footing because another crisis is going to happen.
Yeah, but that's
We
what.
haven't
Yeah,
even
but
got
Maz,
mud through the door.
you're defending my point. Therefore,
Well,
it's
brilliant,
our chairman
then.
and manager. No, but that's my point, though, isn't it? It's. But that's the point. Look, it's this partnership versus that partnership.
Yeah, but I would exclude Ange out of it because I don't think it's fair on Ange because he's come into a structureless club.
His side of the partnership isn't the problem. I can agree with that. But that partnership, it's the manager's only going to be as good as the support he gets from above. Like we've said about Arteta, he's constantly been backed. And what Arsenal are now doing is what Spurs should have done when we finished second.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So the manager can only do so much. So this is why I say
I agree.
Poch and Levy. Sorry, oh my God. Poch and Bowley versus Levy and Ange. Are they not both from an equal starting point? Should they wish to tap into the resources they've got?
Yeah, but you know what the answer is.
Well, that's
Everyone
what I'm asking
knows
you
what
guys.
the-
This is the question.
Yeah, but everyone knows what the answer is. You already know that Levy's not going to be spending the money.
Come on, Lee. Come on, Mari. Back us up here.
I don't know because
You know,
Bowley last year.
It
Look at what
can't be
happened.
it can't be a
What happened last
fair.
year?
It's not a fair
so-
race or whatever, right? Because
Listen,
odds are he's not going to spend money and he is, right? You take that bet anytime.
Yeah, but he's not
Proofs of
spending
the
it
pudding.
because he's got oil money or because he's a nation state. He's spending it because he's choosing to.
Yeah, I get
That's the
that.
point.
I think it's only really fair to make the comparison if you include Ndombele in that conversation, because without him, no, I'm joking. Listen, I think what the outcome of this season with Chelsea and Tottenham will basically what there he is. So the situation at the end of this season with Chelsea and Tottenham, I think what we'll take from whatever the outcome is, whether Chelsea come out above Spurs or Spurs to come out above Chelsea, I'll show you two different stories. If Chelsea finish above us, I think people are basically say, well, look, it shows you progress if you spend the money. If Tottenham were to finish above Chelsea, I think the story would just be, well, it doesn't matter how much money you throw at it. Maybe having a manager and buying the right players actually progresses you. And I think you'll just, whatever the outcome, the story will be swung in whatever way people want to tell it. It's either one or the other. I think you're right in what you're saying still, in terms, I think from where we are, if you make a cut off now, I think we're both in very similar situations for next season in terms of where we were last year. I know there's a difference in what money spent, but at the end of the day, they spent 600 million, and what did it do? It saved them from a relegation position to 12th. Right, that's all they were managed to do with that 600 million, because at one point they were actually still mathematically could be relegated. So that's what it's done. But I think the story would be spun depending on whoever wants to spin it at the end of the season, to be honest, depending on what the outcomes are.
The difference, listen, for me, this argument could be ended in 2 seconds. The difference is in football and ambition. One has it, the other one has the other one does, and the other one doesn't. It's as simple as that. But you cannot tell me that the Chelsea owners, Bowley, has not shown any kind of football and ambition.
I hate to say this.
1 minute, Iggy.
Am I supposed to be triggered by his face? I just think Bowley.
That's a nice
Bowley
smile, though, isn't it?
You cannot look at Bowley in the short time that he's been at Spurs.
My player, my midfielder.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I hate to say.
Listen, I'll come back on it, and if he does what he's meant to be doing on the pitch, which I hope. Listen, as
If we
bad
sell
as
him next month, I'm in the mud.
my feelings towards
If we sell
him
him next
will be
month,
completely demolished. I'll completely put it to one side. If he does the bits for Spurs, I'll stand there and say, do you know what? He's proved me wrong. But the bottom line is, you cannot look at Bowley and Chelsea fans cannot look at Bowley and say, do you know what? That guy lacks ambition on the football field. That guy does not
Completely
put his
agree.
hands in his pocket. He's done that. So they've got no argument to go at him. And they just have to get the right manager to assemble what they have to do well. Because you know that if Pochettino
yeah, but that's
looks
what
around and says,
Spurs fans
I
said.
need,
The right manager playing the right football
we
will
don't,
be
man.
better.
Yeah, but you can't look at Levy and say that he's done everything that he can on the footballing front
Iggy,
to do
Spurs
whatever.
fans are buzzing for this season. They're so excited.
I disagree. I'm not
You
seeing
do realize the way we
I'm not
think of
seeing this
Levy, we are
overexcitement.
in a bit
I'm
of a
not.
minority. We are in a bit of a minority.
Yeah, we are. I hate to, and also I hate to say this too, but I'll say this, and the league governors of the world, they kind of have to change their tune about Kroenke. Kroenke right now, his NFL team just won the Super Bowl 2 years ago. His hockey team made it to the championship. His basketball team, NBA team, just won the championship. And Kroenke is now spending for Arsenal. He's
The
showing
NFL team won the Super Bowl the season before.
Rams before the LA Rams. They won the Super Bowl.
Footballing ambition, Mari. That's what we're talking about.
So Kroenke, where they complain about his ambition, he's changed. He's showing ambition for Arsenal. He is. He is. I mean, the league gunners, they're gonna have to now be like, Kroenke is showing some ambition because he's winning with the clubs that he owns. He's showing some ambition.
Unless they win big trophies at Arsenal, I think I think this season Arteta has to deliver. Otherwise, it's
he's gone. He has
in regards to Chelsea, though,
100 million on Rice now.
Arsenal are going to spend between 600 to 700 million pounds by the end of this window since Arteta started. That is madness to not win a trophy. You cannot be trophyless.
The pressure's on, man. The pressure's on.
One manager. On one manager.
In regards to Chelsea, though, I do find weird how they managed to get rid of all their players.
Just want to bring up this point.
To Saudi Arabia.
Arsenal's the only team, and he wants to win with Arsenal. That's the only team Kroenke's won that hasn't won lately. Yeah,
that's why I'm worried about them. I said it at the start of the show. I'm worried about Arsenal.
Yeah.
We've got a super chat here from Della Spurs. Big up Della Spurs. I hear the arguments against comparisons, but Chelsea has had more change in the last years. Owner, board, manager, and players. How could Tottenham not view equal as Chelsea, if not better? That's what I think. I mean, look, Maz disagrees. Fair enough. I don't know where everyone else is at. JP's kind of semi-disagrees.
No,
but...
I don't. I don't. I'm not.
It's okay to disagree with me. I'm
not on the same.
I'm wrong.
We're not on the same starting point.
I think that it's such a complicated discussion that you could argue either way. As Lee said, we will see. We will see at the midway point in the season how both teams are doing, and we will easily know whether it was an equal footing or not. If we're there and thereabouts with them, then
I did not say that. I did not say that. Sorry, you're lying. I said Conte has not been backed because, in fact, let me read your comment. Last season, you said your team is bad. They are bad. We came 8th, the worst we've done in something like 15, 16 years. That Conte got a pass for losing to Middlesbrough. Every manager at Spurs has lost to these lower teams, including Poch, Jose, Red. They all lost the same results. But now Ange needs to finish above. I never said he needs to. I'm saying that, again, you're changing what I've said. Levy and Ange versus Poch and Bowley is a fair, equal race. They both have the same resources if they want to use them. They've both got the fan base. They both had a bad season last year. They both got new managers. They've both got structural changes within the club. Spurs have got Scott Munn coming in, new football director. And they both don't have European football, less football to play next year. They can just focus on the league and on the domestic cups. I don't care how much Chelsea spent. That means nothing to you. They came 12th.
Shown the same ambition as
Chelsea
the other.
came 12th spending that money.
It's very
Chelsea
clear.
came 12th. You can say, but they had Potter, they had Lampard. They had Stellini and Ryan Mason. who took us from 4th to 8th when I said if you sack Conte, we're going to collapse, and we did. Mind
I'm
you,
with
Conte
Iggy
wanted
on
out.
this. I just think
They
I
brought
think
in a
you were
World Cup
comparing the
winner,
wrong metrics
midfield.
here.
They wanted to get a goalkeeper moved
By the
out.
way,
They're gone.
Girish,
Saudi Arabia
I
brought in
didn't
all
mean
the
to say you
players.
lied, but that's not quite true.
No,
What I said.
Saudi Arabia have bought all the players that they wanted out. All of them. All the Chelsea players. Saudi, with the exception of Harvard's, everyone went to Saudi Arabia.
And there's something
We don't
dodgy
have that
there as
same
well.
thing. We
isn't
don't
there?
we don't attract the same.
There's
The
got to be
players are
something
deadwood,
dodgy there.
right?
Surely.
Arsenal
All
paid
the Chelsea-
65
all the
million for Kai
Chelsea-
Havertz, Iggy.
Okay, but what I'm trying to say to you, we don't operate that same way.
Bound to.
Yeah, but no, it's
I'm
Stel,
agreeing with
right?
you. I'm not saying I know.
Yeah, no, I think we're all arguing the same point.
So they employ better
But-
people at managing transfers than us.
Yeah, but that's
Okay,
the same with
so-
every metric still. But it's the same with everything you pick. We're worse at everything.
Yeah, but that's got
Every
nothing to do with the
little thing.
£600 million spent.
Yeah, but that's £600 million in 6 months.
And it got them 12.
Yeah, but what do you want them to do? Win the league in 6 months?
If I spent £600 million, I don't expect to finish bottom half of the league table, Matt.
It was clear.
They had
it was
Lampard
clear
as
that
the manager, for fuck's sake.
The management.
We had Stellini.
The manager
but,
wasn't
okay.
good enough. Potter wasn't the right man
We
for the
lost.
job.
We were 5-0 down at Newcastle in 32 seconds.
Potter was not the right man for that job, and
That
for
90
that man,
minutes. But...
right?
Come on, man. You
Don't
forget
bring
that
it
game.
back.
Potter was not the right man for the job. The job was too big for him. And then what they did was worse, hiring Lampard to replace Potter, which was worse. Now they got a manager with experience, has been there. And listen, Poch he's got to have to see it. Now we're going to see the real Poch. How good is Pochettino? So we'll see
Can
how
he
good
get it
Pochettino
over the
is.
line?
Can he
really
now
get
he's
it
got
over the
all the
line?
resources that he didn't get at Spurs. He's
No.
now got at Chelsea.
Should have no excuses now, wouldn't it? Should
Now
have
we'll
no
see
excuses
what
now.
Pochettino's all about, man.
Guys, by the way, G Chain's my friend. So in case anyone thinks it's like personal battles, it's not.
Listen,
Well,
bottom line is that.
Yeah, but okay. Let me see. You see how messy this conversation is. We're saying that their chairman's more ambitious than ours, yet Poch was waiting to come back, knowing there's a better chairman waiting out there for him.
Yeah, that just shows that we're
And
not
we still
ambitious,
didn't pick
doesn't
up the
it?
phone. And we still didn't pick up the phone.
What more do you want? What more do we need to discuss about, man? We know what the deal is. We know exactly what the issues are.
Yeah,
It's been
still
the same
drop
for the
it.
last few years.
He's
Yeah.
magic, you know.
Let's
All right, very very quickly. Last thing. All right, out of 10, home kit. What'd you give it?
It's the same as
New
last
home
year.
kit. It's got no yellow. It's got blue on the sleeve, but not on
8.
the collar, and it's got a funky kind of Tetris type
I
pattern.
don't mind it actually.
Well, which one is it though? There's
Yeah.
fucking two of them, isn't there?
Yeah, nice.
Cheeky
I
kids.
mean,
That's another
different.
thing that winds me right up as well. So
I mean,
I got the
different
kit for
deal.
my boy.
Two of what?
For his birthday. I quite like it. I quite like the simplicity of it. But what is a right wind up is when I went on the website to realise there's a studio shirt, and then there's a stadium shirt, and then there's another. I forget what they call
there's
it.
an
and they're
elite
different.
shirt and fan shirt. There's
One of them,
Is it a
yeah, one of
player
them is
shirt?
one of them, which is 130 quid, is
That's
a
the elite, that's
replica
what the
of
players
what
wear.
they play with on the day.
Oh,
And then
friend.
got
another
air
one
vents.
which is different, which is 89 quid, which is not the same as what they play on the field.
no,
No,
the
but
one,
it's-
the first one.
It's different
is always
material
that-
and it's got air vents
Yeah.
and things like that in
Yeah,
it.
first
it's
one
an
is the one
exact
that the
replica
players
of what
wear.
the players wear. Yeah, exactly.
The
Yeah,
first one,
exactly.
the elite one, is what they call the elite, and then there's
Yeah.
the fan version.
Yeah.
which is
That's just a
essentially
piss
it.
take.
What do you give it out of 10? The home kit, JP, out of 10.
8.
Tired.
There's a 6 here.
I quite like
Iggy?
it.
Listen, I've been indifferent to the Nike edition of Spurs shirts. I've been very indifferent to them, and the red. Listen, the red sponsorship for me is always it's always a turn off. So for me, it's always a 5. For as long as Nike keep producing these kits, for as long as AIA are in red, it will always be a 5 at best. No more than that. I haven't liked Spurs top probably since the 2017. I want to say it's probably the Under Armour. Probably the Under
Wait,
Armour
Frank,
was the
eight-
last.
Under Armour
8
was,
for
yeah.
JP, 5 for Iggy. Lee?
I don't mind it. I don't like the yellow accents from last year's one, to be honest. I thought they looked out of place. So I'm quite happy that it's gone back to white. I'm agree with Iggy. I don't really like the red. I think it's just a bit of a weird colour to have on
Man,
a
it's
Tottenham
so.
shirt.
Look at it. It's so huge. The AIA.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
massive.
Yeah, but
It's like
I'll
every
give it
year
a
it gets
6.
bigger, doesn't it?
It just fucking
I-
gets massive.
I mean, I've got one in the next room, so I'll give it a 6. I'll bump that up to a 7 as soon as I see Ndombele wearing it, because that'll just
Fantastic.
That'll just-
That AIA on his belly is going to look like. But look,
Yeah.
you know
It'll
what
be
the
like
funny-
that.
I hope we
it'll
get a
be
sponsor.
sponsored AIA. On the back, it'll be KFC. Own personalised shirt.
I hope our next sponsors has more letters in it, because maybe they'll make it a little bit smaller. But yeah, it's fucking. What was that?
All right, Murray.
Ali Pally.
He was. Yeah, there's a. I'd like to see Iggy do a good morning video from Ali Pally. I don't know.
You know what? Maybe one day. Maybe on a Saturday, I will one day. Ali Pally. I love that.
By the
place,
way,
man.
you've just reminded me. If Jamie Furman is here, can you tell us where your barbershop is? Because we will do a show in your barbershop. But tell us where.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Jamie Furman.
Enfield Town's massive. You have to tell us.
There's a lot of barbershops in Enfield. Yeah, Murray. Sorry, out of 10.
8.
Another 8.
8.
Like same as JP Maz.
4 for me.
Yeah.
4. I give it a 5. That's mine.
It's got red in it. If it didn't have red in it, then it would.
Do you know what I mean?
A 6 or 7, yeah. But it's got red.
Killer.
In it, so.
Do you know what? Just one last thing. I think I'd like the kit more if it was white, blue, white. But the fact that it's white, all white. I mean,
I like the grey kit. I like the grey.
Yeah, I think the blue. I think the shorts should be blue.
Yeah.
What about the away kit, guys? The away kit.
Yeah,
Wow.
Still, have you seen that comment?
That's ugly.
Which one? How have I got here? I know. Yeah. Mate, it's all right. Everyone gets sucked into the chat.
Yeah.
I've already spoken to him. I quite like it, actually.
No, I don't like the collar.
No, not for me.
I've already spoken
JP,
to my mate.
Elbows
at
are
night.
too pointy.
I've spoken to my
Is
mate
that
at night.
grey?
He's
Is
gonna
that
get me
grey
one.
or was that navy? I can't make out the
It's
colours.
purple,
man.
navy, and
It's
lilac.
like a,
Purple.
Purple, navy, and lilac. Yeah.
is it? I thought it was like
Purple,
a.
navy, and
No, it's
lilac.
blue.
Fuck.
Where's the purple?
Yeah, that's what I'm
On the
struggling.
collar.
No, it's
On the
not
collar,
blue,
and a
isn't
little
it?
stem tree.
You
No,
need
it's
to get
purple.
you need to get a monitor
Okay.
JP with 98% coverage of DPI's
What-
colour space.
What score out of 10 do you give it? Because all we're doing now is discussing what Pantone color it is, what shade of blue it is.
No, it was me. It was my fault. I couldn't tell you what colour it
I know
was.
it's your
I quite
fault,
like
but
it.
it's always
I
your
couldn't
fault.
tell what colours it was. I couldn't tell.
I'll give that an 8 as well. I like it.
I
JP
don't like that.
JP gives it an
Purple
8.
and
What about
gold
you,
would have
Iggy? What do you give it?
Purple and gold would have been a lot better. But listen, the sponsor's a lot better. It's more subtle.
Purple and gold.
But
Yeah, I
I
like
don't
the- I
like
like the
it, man.
black.
I just don't like the design. Again, it's another 5 for me.
Yeah.
5,
Same,
Lee?
4.
It looks like something you'd order off a Sheen.
Yeah,
I don't
4,
like
4
it at
for me.
all.
Yeah,
It looks really thin and horrible.
Murray?
4.
4.
Everyone
Four.
hates it except for JP. I'm with JP. I don't mind it, actually. It reminds me of the retro kits.
He's
that's
wearing
nice.
purple. He's biased.
I like
Ah,
purple.
Purple
It's
and
true, he's
gold.
wearing purple.
Should have done a purple and gold.
This is purple, depending what kind of vision you've got. Third kit.
Woo! 10, baby. I like
That's
that.
an 8. 8 for me.
That's a 10 for me.
It's got
See, that's
nothing
a
to do with
weird
the
one.
club. It's got nothing
Is
to do
that
with
like
it, but it
Tom?
does. It looks slick though. It
Is
does
it-
look
is
Is
slick.
it grey?
Alex,
Grey
It's
and
because-
coffee.
It's because the sponsor, the badge, the night tick, and the cinch
All
logo
the
on
same
the sleeve
colour,
are
innit?
all the same. Exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
It's got a little bit more coordination to it.
What
A
colour
little bit
short?
more.
What colour
slick.
shorts, do you reckon? Luminous, luminous green.
It'll probably be the same
Purple.
colour.
What the fuck?
Purple.
I think it'll be the same
Just to
colour.
fuck it up.
I think it might be dark shorts, like the same colours as the
Lee,
Spurs.
what do you think about the third kit?
I think I've seen the grey more in personal colour, and it doesn't look too bad. I'm not too disliking into it, but it's fucking grey, isn't it? To be quite honest, sorry for the swearing, but it's just grey. I mean, how can you get excited about grey?
It was nice with a pair of jeans, didn't it?
I Always
Black.
remember.
lovely, yeah.
I like it.
Didn't
I can expect that on a
Didn't-
Sunday afternoon. All the Spurs players coming out in a pair of jeans.
didn't
90
Alex
minutes in
Ferguson?
them.
Didn't
They
Alex
got to be
Ferguson
skin
make
tight
his,
ones as well. Though. Got to be
Can we
Great.
talk about
Didn't Alex Ferguson make his team
before we
change
wrap
at
up?
halftime because they played in
Yeah,
grey
against
because they couldn't
Southampton,
see
yeah,
each
yeah.
other?
That's right.
Before we
yeah.
wrap up, can we talk about Ndombele's walk from his card into the stadium?
Yes, but first, I just want to quickly squeeze one more kit in. The new Chelsea home kit without a sponsor.
Well, at the moment
they
they
not-
haven't struck a
They
deal.
don't even need a sponsor,
Euro.
man. They spend
You know what this
Very-
reminds me of?
now.
You know what this reminds me of? You know when you were at school and you all had to share the same school uniform for match day? The school team kit. It's a bit budget, isn't it?
They haven't
Yeah.
got a sponsorship yet, but they'll have a sponsor. It'll be someone. It could be any other sponsor. And that'll probably
What
be
do you
in
think of
gold.
this design, though?
That's terrible. Yeah.
No, I
Terrible.
don't. No.
That's shocking. 10.
It's a
That's
zero.
like- it is
No,
like
Nike have
it
not done a
is
good
like
job
a
this year.
school Sunday league kit, though, isn't it? It's got that.
Zero.
But that
It's a
grey
zero.
kit out of the three is probably the better one because of the slickness. But you're right, it's still a fucking grey colour. Let's have it right.
Yes.
If I were to put that shirt in, if
Mario
I was
loves it,
to
he's gonna get it.
put that shirt on with this
Mario will be the
background,
first one
I'd
to
go
get it.
missing.
Yes, I will
This
be.
kit is called the John Major,
I'd go missing with this background.
John Major kit.
You just see a face and that's it.
For all the overseas fans who don't know, John Major was a really boring prime minister, and there used to be this comedy called Spitting Image, and they always used to put his face as grey.
Yeah.
So that's where it comes from.
Boring.
Yeah, go on, Maz. The Ndombele walk
I just
with the Louis
I thought-
Vuitton designer blue man bag under his.
Yeah, I in the beginning when I saw that, I didn't recognise who it was. I thought it was just some comedy act coming out of the car and doing some weird limp walk. And then as he got closer to the screen, I realised it was Ndombele, which is ridiculous. He was like limping. He had a gut on him. He was hopping, limping. Look like he had 30 cheeseburgers before he turned up to training. He was awful.
Looks in good
But
shape.
look at
to
that
me.
smile.
Looking good shape to me, mate.
Look at that
Busting the
smile.
Spurs
It might
colours.
be. He's
Coordinated.
probably a bit like me. I'm all right at
Good
the top,
sign.
but you go further down, and it's just a mess.
That's when he signed the first time.
You know what? He has got some hips, man. He needs to just tighten them hips a bit. Just
It's
tighten.
He's the
KFC,
Kim
man.
Kardashian of Tottenham, isn't he? He's got it all in the rear. He's a bit like Luke Shaw. I don't know how he runs so fast. He always looks like he's got the biggest arse in the world, but he gets around the pitch.
You know what, man? The amount of abuse Ndombele. Ndom
Okay,
Kardashian.
serious question: is Ndombele going to perform under Ange Postecoglou?
Depends what system we play. If we go 4-3-3, no. 4-3-3.
Yeah,
No.
this conversation, man.
Oh boy.
Not in a 4-3-3.
Yeah,
But
but
Iggy, if he's putting his faith in him, we've got to have the conversation. We've got to have a conversation about how he performs, right? And if he changes. I don't think he warrants another chance. I can understand his talent, but I don't think he warrants another chance. He's just had too many. And you can and no matter how many ways you swing it, I think he could be the best trainer in the world for the next 6, 7, 8 weeks before the season. But one game in, and he could just have a couple of good runs forward and stuff like that, but down tools, and then we're stuck because everyone else has to take up the slack. And what's the point? We've seen him do it too many times. I really am on the fence about.
Lee,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah,
it's
yeah,
because
yeah.
Levy
That's-
doesn't want to get rid of him because of the investment he paid for him.
Oh,
He hasn't
absolutely.
even played. He hasn't played 90 minutes in about 2 years, has he?
Absolutely, yeah, and
Do you
that's
know-
why I
do you
think
know-
he would be. If anything, he will be a bit part player. I don't think he'll be a starting player.
Hmm.
Can I say, right? And I totally understand the hate on him. I get where it comes from, and a lot of it makes sense. But all I've ever said about Ndombele is this: when he was at Lyon, he was fire. He wasn't elite, but there was something definitely very standout about him, and it was fairly consistent. We signed him to play poch ball the poch way, and we fired the manager 3 months later, and then we then went down this path of let's change the way we play, just let the manager do what they think, which I've got nothing against as long as we back the manager and we stick by them, which we didn't, in my opinion. But that style of play didn't suit so many players, and we said it Look at Kulu last year. Look at Sonny last year. Look at Sonny had an injury. It's a bit unfair, but there was a lot of players at Spurs that I think were partly suffering playing that style of football. But at the same time, if you're elite, you deal with it. Kane, Bentancur, they dealt with it, right? So all I said was, I don't think Ndombele is a versatile player. I think if you play a certain way, you will see a player, and you will see him push himself because he'll enjoy the game. Do you know one? And the other thing that caught my eye was, and it just goes under the radar, I actually thought under Mourinho, Ndombele did well.
Yeah,
I
I
actually
agree.
think he did well for us.
I agree.
So I think I'm not saying it's going to. Go on, Murray.
No, I was just gonna say, Tobes actually Fiat brings up a good point about that first half of the year with Jose. He did pretty good. He did pretty good, and I had to go back, and I'm just like, this is the reason why Declan Rice says, what this guy does with football. I mean, it's very few in the Premier League can do, and that's what makes this such a tragedy. Because if this guy has had his head straight together, like get his head straight, get his weight in check, man, this guy could really be like a legendary midfielder. But
I think that's why you give him a chance, though, Mari.
I agree.
I think that's the only reason why you give him a chance. I mean, I don't think he deserves a chance, but look, I can't see us signing a world-class player, well, for a very long time. Let's put it that way, right? And I'm not saying Ndombele is world-class, but he has the ability that other players don't. And for that, I think that we need to give him, well, Postecoglou is willing to give him a chance. And if he's willing to do that, then we need to back the manager on that front. However, we'll know with Ndombele, I don't know, 10 games, 8 games, 6 games, if his head starts to drop, if he starts puffing at 60 minutes again or 70 minutes and he has to get subbed off, we'll know that nothing's really changed with him. And I'm sure, or I'd like to think that Ange would then deal with him and just usher him out of the team.
I think if we play 4-3-3, it won't work for Ndombele. I don't think that will work for him. I think he needs players around him that are going to do work. That
who's going to be our 6, 8?
The thing is, you got him and Maddison,
9,
and you got no one tracking back, right?
I don't think you can just go with traditional 6, 8, 7, 9s, 10s. I think the way Andrew wants to play, it only works if players can just if they can be flexible in playing 2 or 3 positions during the game where they're interchangeable. They do move in and out of. It's about finding the space and playing with the space. That's the way Ange sets it up. If we're just gonna have this rigid, you're the 6, you're the 8, you're the 10. I don't think that works.
Yeah, I agree. Even in the fluid system though, still I can't see Ndombele doing that well, because I agree with what you said. He's not very adaptable, really. And the biggest mistake that I saw even under Jose is when he was effectively picking up the ball from deep and then going forward with it, because he's whilst he's got an eye for a pass, he doesn't move the ball quickly.
The one thing Spurs lack is players that can actually take on a man, and he can
drop a shoulder and beat a man.
Drop a shoulder on the half turn, drop one shot side. Yeah. They call it the reverse step. Look, if Ange said something in the press conference that was standout, he's working hard because he hasn't got a choice. Meaning, if any player doesn't work hard, you're out. So if history is going to repeat itself and everyone's right about Ndombele, he'll be gone. But if there is a new Ndombele who does put in a shift and consistently shows he's trying and he's not going to shy away, then I think we might see something happen there. The only thing negative I'll say about Ndombele, and I'm not going to change my mind on, but I could say that for 90% of this squad, when the going gets tough and you need to see people step up and get hold of the game and say, right, we're not going down like this. He's one. Yeah, but Iggy.
I agree.
Iggy's head's going to go.
Yeah, but I could say that about Romero. I could say that about Romero. I could say about the wing back. I could say about so many players at the club.
You say that about all our players, though. Really,
pretty much, yeah.
Really, if we're really honest with ourselves, you can say that about all our players. Maybe Son, maybe Kane on occasion, but that's about it.
I think Bentancur keeps going.
Yeah, I agree. Bentancur is for me. He was the standout player before he got injured. I saw the biggest improvement from Bentancur, even from
his injury
last
triggered our collapse, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, we
his
said
injury
it, didn't
triggered
we?
our collapse.
Big time.
We said it on the stream that we're fucked, and that's exactly what happened.
As soon as we had a 10-minute chat about Ndombele, Iggy just switched off, started playing.
I've heard everything you guys.
Playing Candy Crush.
Listen, I've heard everything you guys are about to say, man. And in every conversation you all had about him, I heard the word if. If there was a lot of ifs in all your conversations, I was listening to everything you guys had to say. If that, if this, if that, too many ifs, get rid. For me, it's very simple. When you speak about a player and you have too many ifs in that conversation, for me, there's doubts. There's doubts. And for me, we cannot go into a season with this player having ifs, our defense ifs, forward that we might get rid of if.
But Iggy, aren't they all ifs at the moment? Even Kane, if he stays.
I agree. Yeah. We need to start. We need to start dealing with those ifs. Kane, I've said it. Nip it in the bud. You heard me say it.
Isn't that part of pre-season though? To start sifting out the ifs.
Nip it in the. What's there to see? I'm willing to go if with Kane.
Because every manager is going to give everyone a fresh slate to start from and assess it from his eyes.
I'm willing to go if with players that I know that are worthy. Kane is, you know what? If you do absolutely your most to get that sorted out, if however it doesn't work out, you get rid.
If Kane don't want to be
rid.
Here?
I've said it first and foremost. I don't like dealing. For me.
That's the point I'm saying. Every player is an if at the moment, aren't they?
For me, listen, I go on percentages, man, of success rate. If I feel that there's a player worth saving, I think, you know what, the success rate of him doing well outweighs him not doing so well, then he's worth giving a gamble. This guy that you're talking about for the last 10 minutes is anything but that, because he's under and every manager, he's gone out of this club and gone to play for Napoli, couldn't get in a team there. He couldn't be a regular. And he was seen being told off by the manager because he didn't fulfill the instructions given to him in the time that he was. And we were seeing at the end of the game, him getting bollocked by the manager. So I don't see where the progression has come, even with him leaving Spurs for a temporary time. And we're still talking about that Champions League competition that he played for Lyon, which prompted us to go and get him. We're still on about that. That's what we got to go on. Ndombele, I know he's a technically good player. I saw what he did at Sheffield United with that goal. I know he's got it in his locker. But I'm talking about the here's and now. What this Tottenham Hotspur side requires is less ifs. And we need players to roll their sleeves up from the off.
Do you remember when
doesn't give me that vibe, you got to get rid. I don't think Ndombele that's my opinion, guys.
You know when Ndombele walked off at the FA Cup and you lost your shit, and
for me
another
it was
2 million.
For me, it was done.
Okay, that's what Arsenal fans said about Xhaka when he threw his Arsenal shirt on the floor. Look what happened.
Yeah, Xhaka should have gone for that alone. For that alone, he should have gone.
He's been integral.
I don't care. I'm telling you what he did.
Yeah, but Arsenal fans care. I do. They came second. They beat us at our ground.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. For me, that moment, the moment Xhaka threw the shirt on the floor, for me, it was done. They should have got rid. I don't care what he's gone on to achieve.
Yeah, but if they got rid of Xhaka, they would have played the season with Lokonga, and they wouldn't have got second. So they did the right thing.
I don't think the two are comparable because Xhaka has showed something with Arsenal. Even through
they all wanted Xhaka out even before then. They said he was crap, overrated.
What's Ndombele done at Spurs, man? What's he done?
Well, he's been on loan, hasn't he? We haven't really given him a chance.
Okay, what's he done on loan? Has he
Mourinho
given
gave
you
him a
anything?
chance.
Has he shown you anything that make you think there's something
He's
there?
got middle around his neck.
Man, he's done
Serie A
nothing.
title,
So
Iggy.
yeah, but he didn't achieve that. It wasn't for his greatness. If he was a standout player of them winning that Serie A, I would be the first one because I watched all the Serie A games.
Ndombele helped Napoli
He didn't
take
help
the
do
title away
shit.
from AC Milan, and I think
He
there's an
didn't
agenda.
help do shit. I
Him
watched
and
all the
Galini
Napoli
were
games.
standing there,
I
Iggy, all
watched all the
smiling
Napoli
with their
games.
medals.
I watched all the Napoli games, and I'm telling you now,
Sorry,
he
captain's
did
armband.
not
Sorry, mate.
contribute anything. He did not contribute anything. To
I
that
wouldn't
league.
say anything because, especially when we had those injuries.
Stop, Mari. He didn't do
Well,
shit.
He was part of the team that got to the Carabao Cup final under Mourinho.
All right, go with it, man. Go with it.
I would say
I'm just saying, give him a chance. That's all.
Go with it. All right.
He
Go with
wasn't
it.
just a warm body. He was a help in regards to the team. Now, was he a major part of why that?
Lobotka, and Guissa,
Lobotka.
and Zelensky were the three players, and they feel that they were the reason why they won a champion. They won a championship, the league Serie A.
I agree with you. But they needed depth. They needed to give rest, especially at the end of the season, where we tailed off in regards to we still won the Scudetto, but tailed off because of injuries. You know, he came in. He was serviceable. Being nice, he was serviceable. But
so,
well, the thing is, we still got Lo Celso there. Sorry,
they still got a medal, mate.
I'm just going to say, Ndombele's crowning achievement while he's been out on loan is an 8.5-minute highlight reel on YouTube, which out of all the Tottenham players is the longest run time for any highlight reel. So that's his achievement, basically. Other than that, he's a player that turns up for 10 minutes. I'm to be fair, I think I'm with Iggy on this one. We can't have a player that turns up for 10 minutes and shows 2 minutes of brilliance and then does nothing else for the rest of the time. I think he should go.
On that note, we're going to wrap it up, everyone. It's been 3 hours. We've been going on for
shit note turned it in.
Bloody hell.
Sorry about that, guys.
See, we were doing 90 minutes.
You're a barrel of fun, isn't you, Iggy, tonight?
Not when it comes to Ndombele, man.
I'm never mentioning that name again.
No
That's it, done. Taking it out of my
fucking someone wrote the other night, Ndombele is more talented than Paul Gascoigne. I nearly cried.
Oh mate, I saw that as well.
No. That is so.
Didn't older Brian Daigle said that he hasn't seen things like that since Gaza? I thought that was a bit much.
Fuck my life, honestly.
Stuart 727. I'm joking, man. Just banter.
There's people calling him Ndombele out. Someone else called him Ndom Jelly Belly.
We've got the best nicknames for our players, mate. Honestly,
I prefer Ndom Bargain Bucket.
Ndom Bargain Bucket. Ndom.
Come on, guys, hit that like.
Ndom Big Burger.
Like, guys.
Just look at our players. The burger. The what's
pigeon.
Chicken.
The pigeon.
Not lion, tiger.
I saw someone put the pigeon, looks like a pigeon running around earlier, and I can't not see that in my head now. I can't not see him like this with his chest out, running around with his arms dragging around.
It's true.
It's not, I can't, it's just I laugh now.
What a rubbish.
I laugh every time I see it.
Well, they do play for the Cockerels, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's all bird related. Big up to Della Spurs for the super chat, to being Avishek for the super chat, and Della Spurs again. Thank you so much, guys. Much appreciated. Everyone in the comments tonight, big up everyone. Iggy will be doing the Tottenham Good Morning Tottenham Away show during the week. Mari's got a couple of shows planned. JP will be doing a couple of pop-ups. I'll be doing a couple of videos.
I'm on a view from the South Stand tomorrow evening, so lock it in, guys. If you're
lock it in there. I'm doing a show with Savra on his channel on Wednesday. Listen, we'll just put we'll put comments up on the show. Our second channel as well, we'll be having stuff come out there soon. We're starting a new show on there called North London is Ours, where we're going to have Arsenal versus Tottenham every single week. That's going to be fire. I'm starting a new show on that channel as well called Best of the Prem. Mari's doing something similar on a Friday. So listen, we'll just announce it all. We're going to do it tonight, but I've just completely forgotten, so we'll do it another time. But anyway, listen, big up everyone. I'm too tired now. Big up, everyone. Thanks for watching the show tonight. Arteta in, extend his contract. Don't say that. They're spending money. Big up, Jonathan Mills.
Much love.
Yeah, listen, JP, anything you want to end the show on? Or
No, just much love to everyone. Thank you very much for watching us. Hit
Big
that
up
like,
to everyone in the
hit
chat,
subscribe.
man. Always appreciated. And by the way, and a big up to everyone that's keeps on subscribing on a daily basis. And if you're new and you're watching this probably for the first or second time, whatever, wicked to have you guys.
Tell your
on, man.
friends.
Yeah, totally appreciated. Always. We don't probably say it enough, but we should. But you know what? It's gratefully appreciated. All the support and the views
It's
and the
there.
subscribers are on the up. So it's always good, man. Thanks very much, guys.
make sure you like and subscribe. Lee, Maz, as always, thank you for coming on a Monday night.
Pleasure.
And
Part of the
I
furniture
just
now.
like
Part of
end
the
on just one last thing. End on bye.
furniture. Let's do end on bye-bye. All right, cool. End on bye-bye, everyone. End on bye-bye.
And then bye-bye.
Come on, Iggy.
Later, people.
And bye-bye.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.